Good evening, gamers. Welcome to episode 2 of PM in the PM. That's right, Pong and Mav in the PM. I am just one of your co-hosts, Pong Soul. That's right, you are here live on October the 28th, 2021 for episode 2. That's right, we made it to 2. Unbelievable. But you know, the head of the this empire, he told me the first show was okay, and we can go ahead and do number 2. So shout out to Mav for giving us the green light to continue this run. But hey, look, it is PM in the PM. It is Thursday night. It is fantastic to see everybody already hanging out with us in the chat. Look, this is not only PM and PM, but this is also your official OFK fan club. I'm one of your co-presidents, and Fun Speculation is also a co-president. That's right. Leading up to World Tour in 2022, this is where you're going to find all your OFK information. You guys all thought BTS was a big band. Nah. They got nothing on OFK. Wait until Sony brings that stateside. This is going to be beautiful. So, anyways, let me move on and introduce my co-host, the owner of this empire called Fun Speculation, Mav himself. Mav, how's it going, brother? What's going on?
It's going well. I don't know about all this OFK stuff though. I know, like, I know you're excited, but you know, like, it's not really rubbing off on me. Wait,
pause.
We're gonna like maybe at some point talk about that game once in the future, potentially. Maybe the day it comes out. Weekly
to lead up. That's what we're doing.
Weekly to lead up. By the way, guys, there is a fantastic poll in the chat. I'm about to close it here, but I want to make sure everybody had a chance to vote, because it's a very important question now. At the PlayStation State of Play yesterday, Pong was really excited about one game in particular, and that was this game that he continued to lead off the show with today, and that is We Are OFK. And I want to know, why is it that he's so excited about this game? So, answer the question in the poll, and we will. It's very close, actually. It's your dream game. You've been waiting for this your whole life. You want to be in the band, or you're sick of JRPGs. So one of those 4 is the correct answer, and we're about to find out what it is. But yeah, dude, this is going to be a fun show, right?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a blast, brother. We've got 3 topics picked out tonight. We'll see how this goes. Obviously, we've got the PlayStation PC announcement today. Then we're going to talk a little Halo. And then a good friend of the community, Clobriel, he dropped some summaries of all the Xbox project games that we know of. So we definitely got some things to talk about. I think we're going to start off with the Sony side of things, Mav, unless you got anywhere else you want to go.
No, okay.
All right, cool.
That's a fantastic idea. Let's start talking about
All right, let's start talking about Sony. So, PC. Yeah, exactly. So for anybody who does not know, today Sony officially unveiled that they had changed the name of PlayStation Mobile to PlayStation PC. And as expected, this ruffled some feathers. If you haven't been listening to common sense people in this community, if you happen to be one of those that likes to live in the dark, seedy alleys of this community, where you hear nothing but fanboy talk, of course, this is going to come to a very big surprise and shock. How could this happen? How could PlayStation do this to us? So, but if you've been listening to everybody else who understands business and who gets the concept of where this industry is going, you're not going to be surprised at all, because we've all been talking about this for a long time. So, Mav, I'll start off with you on this one. Obviously, this is a big move for Sony. Obviously, this kind of, if you didn't if you didn't see the light before, they kind of turned on a 1,000-watt flashlight right in your face with this one. They are kind of announcing to the world their intentions here. Obviously, the God of War thing just happened. With their announcement that in January of 2022, God of War will come to PC. And that already caused a big enough stir. And then they follow it up with this. So, Mav, when you heard this today, what were your initial thoughts? And could they be any more clear with where they're going at this point?
This was not a surprise. This was actually, it's just like a confirmation that they're acknowledging it before everybody. And does the Xbox even have like the division Xbox PC? Like, is that
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. It's just part of their studios because it's
right.
That's what they do. They automatically develop for both, right? So
it's just interesting how like several people always thought this day would never happen, and they use these things for conversation pieces and stuff like that to try and ruffle feathers, saying one thing is better for the other just because their games don't come out on PC, which never made sense to me. So in the future, when games are day and date on PC on all platforms, I won't include Nintendo because I don't think that's gonna happen. But on PlayStation and Xbox,
2050, they'll come around.
2050, yeah. Well,
quantum computing,
emulators, all that kind of stuff, I guess, right? But there's no more this versus that. People just can enjoy the games, right? Hopefully, and just focus on the games, which PlayStation has a lot of great games. So this, to me, just states that, hey, more people are going to get to play great games, and they're going to be able to sell more games to more gamers who there was some statistics thrown out there earlier, Pong. We saw like 8% of PC users have a PS5 or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I was gonna cover that. Matt Piscatella put out some good stats. So let me read those real quick. Let me read those real quick here. So, according Matt Piscatella has been in the industry for a very long time. The guy knows his stuff, and he does a lot of analytics. And so he breaks down a lot of stats on the NPDs and that kind of stuff when they come out, the sales charts, all that good stuff. So he came out today after this announcement and said, I'm reading from his tweet, according to the NPD Group's Player Pulse, only about 1/3 of PC players in the US owns a PS4, and only 8% own a PS5. That leaves a huge PC audience that can be reached, and is also why releasing ports on PC is not likely to impact content sales on the consoles. Win-win kind of deal.
Yeah,
so
like, why not?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yep.
If they can be brought to PC, which people have always been saying they can, then why not do it? And I think Jim Ryan even has said in an interview or something about how it's easier for them to bring the games out to PC now because of the tech with the PS5 and stuff. So he's kind of saying, why not do it? It just makes more sense to do it now than ever. They're just kind of getting with the times, and all the interviews we see regarding stuff like this, it seems like, hey, they're moving on to the next phase, right? This phase that Xbox has been in for a while and been reaping the benefits of, and we're gonna see the PlayStation reap huge benefits of it as well. Like when God of War was like the #1 pre-order game on Steam, just like you're saying, and all this stuff. I mean, it's gonna keep going. There's a lot of gamers out there that are just, hey, they're just PC diehards, right? And they don't want a game on console, and they're gonna have great, even better games to play now, because it's honestly been a shame, in my opinion, that there's been this gatekeeping thing, like for no reason, just to make the box feel more special to the people that own it, which I guess can make sense somewhat, but at the same time, when it doesn't actually impact anybody, like why is that need to be a thing? It doesn't need to be a thing. It's only a superficial, artificial thing.
Would you like to feel more special, Mav, or would you like to have more content in games? Which one?
I would like to have more content, and I would like them to sell more games. That way, they keep investing in more games and create more games and acquire more studios and invest in other games because they're selling well. Right?
Yep.
So hardware sales, man, isn't this crazy to say? Hardware sales are not the end-all be-all anymore in the gaming industry?
Nope. At least not for those that understand it.
Right.
For some people, it still is.
Yeah, it's just real interesting. I'm happy about this. You know, like in the future, if I have a megaton PC that can play these games at like 100,000 frames per second, whatever the hell, you know, like I might get a game on there when it's also cheaper and just check it out. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of benefits to this. So what about you, Pong? Like, how does this sit with you?
I mean, again, knew this was coming for a very long time. So this is not a shock in any way, shape, or form. It shouldn't be a shock, again, unless you were listening to uninformed or intellectually dishonest people. Again, this is the writing's been on the wall for a very long time. Now, you know, their announcement today does not mean tomorrow everything's going day and date, right? That's not what this means. You know, obviously we can see at some point in the future it may get to that point. I'm still in the boat that says not everything will be day and date, that they will hold some stuff, whether it's 6 months, whether it's a year, they will hold some stuff. But some games, you know, let's say, let's just throw some, let's say they do go ahead and make a Days Gone 2. Right. And we know the performance of Days Gone, the first one. Let's say they go ahead and just greenlight a Days Gone 2 down the road. That one would come to date in my mind. Right. Because that would make sense. Now, something like a Spider-Man 2, I don't think so. But we could be proven wrong. And we could be I should say I could be proven wrong because I don't know how you feel about it. But God of War Ragnarok, there's rumblings. Right. And if they do that, then that's going to be a clear message that they are 100% trying to form their own version of what Microsoft does. If they get a game like God of War Ragnarok next year and they decide that they're going to flip that day one on PC, that's going to be a huge, huge indicator to everybody that they've made the decision. They are full steam ahead, and we could probably expect some type of Game Pass-like service very quickly as well. So I think God of War Ragnarok, I don't think Horizon Zero or Horizon Forbidden West will do it, but I think God of War Ragnarok has a chance. But never know. We could see it in February too. That might be why they picked up Nixxes, right? To come in when they acquired Nixxes, I should say. And they are specialists in porting over to PC. So I could definitely see us getting an answer very quickly on this matter. But I think it's great. It's what Sony needs to do. It is the future. It gets us closer in terms of accessibility. That someday, maybe, you know, again, the dreams of Kumbaya Phil, who would just like to see everything everywhere and have everybody access it wherever they're at, could be coming closer to reality. I know Sony's going to hold on as long as they can. You know, we just got that announcement last week about GeForce being open on the Edge browser. They've Tom Warren, I think, did some looking around in there, and he tried to pull up Death Stranding, and that is blocked from the Edge browser. So they're still going to put those blocks in place. I don't think we're going to be seeing God of War straight from the browser on a Xbox anytime soon, but I think that potential gets more and more the further along we go, right? That increases as we move forward, because again, there's no reason for Sony to not want as many people to play their games just like Phil. And again, we already know Phil said, hey, you guys want to put Game Pass on your system? We'll do it. That's not a problem. We don't have an issue with that. We'll share. But both Nintendo and Sony obviously are not willing to do that at this point. But I think we just get closer and closer to that point where if you purchase content somewhere and you want to play it on a different device, you're going to be able to do that. We've seen it now with Xbox. Xbox is fully invested in that, and it just increases with xCloud. And I think Sony's going to eventually get to that point too, because again, Jim knows that he's capped in the console market, which we've talked about many times on many different shows. He's capped, Matt Piscatella's stats. That's a big, gigantic pool of extra players that he now has access to, right? And that he can potentially sell a copy of a game to. And I think that they're getting that taste. They've gotten that taste in the past with Days Gone, did very well for what it was. Horizon did very well once they fixed some of the issues. It didn't do as great as I'm sure they hoped, but it did pretty well considering all the issues on PC that it did have. Now, if they start if God of War comes out, and from everything we're seeing, and it runs really well, and it's a great port, and PC users are getting the maximum experience, guess what? That thing is already number one on Steam. That thing's going to maintain number one status for quite a while, and Jim's going to love those numbers flowing on in. So I think that once they get that taste, once they see the success that some of these older titles have, it only pushes, and it's not just Jim's decision. Again, he's got to answer to Sony Corp. He's got to answer to the board. But those boards start seeing those numbers. Look, we know what that's about. That's about money, man. They're going to be all in. They're going to be like, get these games out on PC as soon as possible, and there'll be some strategy to it. That's why I say I don't think every single one will be day and date, but I think we're just a step closer. And this is a great way to announce it, calling it PlayStation PC. It's a little odd to see it this way. That's for sure. But at the same time, it makes sense for Sony, and this is something that was coming. I just thought it was amazing that they just announced God of War coming to PC and then follow it up with this after their state of play that happened last night. And so again, great for everybody. Don't listen to the people crying in the corners, rocking back and forth. They don't know what they're talking about. This is great for the industry. This is great for Sony. This is great for Sony fans because they're going to have more money to invest. And that's what it means for, gamers. So this is a very good deal for Sony, and I'm happy they finally came out and announced it. So that was the Sony deal. Again, I don't know, man. We could touch a little bit on the state of play last night real quick here before we move into Halo's, the good stuff. Look, the state of play last night, I think pretty much everybody was in agreement that it was not good. And I think you did a live reaction. Why don't you just give us your overall impressions, and then just real quick, if anything did stand out to you, just let everybody know where you're at with that.
Okay. Hey, real quick first, though, I want to give a shout out to John TJ. Hit us with a $5 super chat.
Oh, yeah. Get your super chats, brother.
Great show, Mav and Pong. Hey, thank you, TJ. I super appreciate it. So, state of play. Yeah. I was excited about this third-party show, which is kind of what they said our expectation to be. Yes. Yeah. Yep. That's what they said. Hey, this is going to focus on third-party partnerships and updates and new announcements. And I was excited to see that. We're going around, and a lot of even the PlayStation creators are thinking like, hey, maybe we're going to see Final Fantasy or Harry Potter or, something that we haven't seen in a while, something that's bigger, exciting, and I was pretty excited. I like doing these reaction videos. I like streaming these things. I sat down there ready, hyped with the audience ready before the show. And then they started with the oh geez. Is it bad when I can't even remember what was in the show?
that was the TV show Battle Royale.
Oh,
beat 'em up.
Yeah, the one that had it had some cool music in it. I was driving to the music. And they had this like, it was like we were kind of like, what is this? And I was like, okay, it's a quirky thing. And then they move on to like the OFK thing, and then they move on to like Five Nights at Freddy's, and then they move on to something else, and then something else, and then we got Deathloop, or not Deathloop, but Death's Door.
Why do we skip over OFK so much? That's like Game of the Year 2022, and you just skipped over it.
Pong, I know you're excited, and okay, and I know that you've been waiting for this game for so long, and this show was meant for you. Okay, they put this show together specifically for Pong Soul, but for me, it just didn't hit. Okay, so I'm gonna move past OFK.
But the writing was Oscar worthy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Was anybody else confused and actually think that they were like the host of the show for a second? Because they were talking about PlayStation and like the PlayStation showcase, and I was like, okay, this is a cool, interesting little way to kind of navigate the show. Then I found out it's actually a game. Okay, right on. Yeah. Now then they move on and show us something else and something else.
The first game was Death Verse. That was the Battle Royale TV show thing called Death Verse. Let It Die.
Okay.
It's Let It Die. You remember Let It Die? Game that came out like years ago.
I think we should let it die.
Yeah. Well, this is break off from there. So that's that one. Then they went to OFK. Then another huge announcement. I can't believe it. This is why I'm running the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly why I'm running the show, because Mav would just skip over all this great stuff. Look, Bug Snacks, the Isle of Big Snacks. Brother, how could you forget that? You love snacks. How could you forget Bug Snacks, the Isle of Big Snacks?
These aren't the kind of snacks I like, Pong Soul.
They look exactly like your cardboard animal crackers. That's all I'm going to say. A lot of these bugs look that way. And look, you can put hats on them now. That was a big part of that video.
If they had Animal Cracker DLC, I might be in.
Maybe we got to hit them up. Maybe they'll do that. Then we had Five Nights at Freddy's. Security breach. Dude, come on. Five Nights at Freddy's, huge. Look at this. Then Death's Door, like you talked about, which is amazing. Awesome. I'm glad PlayStation people are finally going to be able to get their hands on that game. It's well worth it. Then we had Kart Rider Drift, right? Which I think was already out on Xbox, wasn't it?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Okay. Well, you were kind of into it when you were watching the reaction, when you were doing your reaction.
Kart Riders, I'll say this. Okay.
Yeah. You said you're never going. What did you say? I'm never going to hate on a kart.
I'm never going to hate on a kart racer. That's true. Hey, kart racers, I will play. Right. I will try you. If you're a kart racer, I will attempt to navigate your courses with your silly characters. I love it. Okay. Now, did the announcement excite me? No, because it's just like I was already like bummed out at this point.
Okay. Then we got King of the Fighters.
Okay, that was cool.
That was cool. King of the Fighters 15, which is also coming to Xbox. It's multi-plat, but it looked really good. It was the gameplay that they had was off of a PS5. Looked fantastic. King of the Fighters, and then we had First Class Trouble, right? That one where you could be the nurse that stabbed everybody. It was like
that was like an Among Us.
Yeah, Among Us.
Game.
Right. Yeah. Yep, exactly. And that one is coming to PS Now, I believe, next month. Actually, they get that up front, which is really cool. So, but yeah, First Class Trouble, and then Star Ocean.
Which was the big one.
Out of the blue, right? Out of the blue. Yeah.
Now I have like excitement about this, but I remember the last Star Ocean, which didn't do well, and everybody said it was like the worst in the series and everything, right? So I actually purposely just stayed away from it because like I didn't want to buy it because I didn't want to waste my money on a game that it wasn't going to like. So do I regret not playing that game? Kinda, because I loved Star Ocean 4, right? But I was excited by a lot of things with this trailer. I liked the whole opening sequence they had. I think it looked pretty cool. I mean, is it going to blow people away graphically and stuff like that? Absolutely not. But it has potential with being a classic JRPG style game. And I am excited about Star Ocean. That was one that got me pumped. So that was great.
Okay, and then they finally finished up with Little Devil Inside.
Okay. Yeah, that one didn't do anything for me.
Not at all.
No, I don't really know what it is. You know, like it
Did you see the first trailer they did? Like, did you see the first trailer they did last year? I think it was. Did you ever see that one?
I'm sure I did, but I don't remember it. Like I just saw a train and like there's a lot of dialogue and you're walking around and I don't like it kind of jumped all over the place. Like I'm not saying it's gonna be bad or anything. Like
it didn't do it justice. It didn't. They focused on like the traversal and stuff and how you're gonna move through the world. But the original trailer they showed, the thing's got really good combat. At least from looking at it.
Did they even show any combat in
the
trailer?
No. This was all about talking and the jokes and kind of how you were going to get through the world from, you know, and do your exploration and that kind of stuff. They didn't show any of the combat in this one. But the first trailer they did, and it looked really good. So
nice. So based on what they showed me, I thought it was just a walking, talking game, right? So I just didn't really have much interest. But I'll go back and watch the other trailer again because I don't remember it. Yeah, I'm not going to write it off. You know what I mean? I'm willing to try pretty much anything. It just like there's a whole thing as a whole was just like, what was the point? Like, I understand like if they would have said, hey, we're going to have an indie showcase and like bring attention to our indie developers and all this stuff. But the way that like they kind of promoted it was like a third party partner type show and spend 20 minutes. And I'm expecting at least like one, like Star Ocean's a decent like size announcement, I would say. But like even for them, like it's a multi-plat, so it's not really servicing PlayStation that much, right? To have this as the big thing for their show. I just don't understand 100% what the whole point of even having this state of play was, because it didn't really excite anybody. In fact, it just actually brought a lot of negative attention that I think they didn't necessarily need. I want to get to Alvin's $5 super chat here as well. So thank you so much, Alvin. I appreciate it. He says, great show, guys. 3 for 3 just released. Biggest infinite blog ever, dozens of renders and images. Yeah, I've been waiting for that. So thank you. And we're going to be talking about Halo, so we can dive into some of this stuff because I'm going to bring it up and kind of look through it while we're doing this show right now. So thank you, Alvin.
Do that. Awesome, Alvin. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the state of play was what it was. Again, I judge each show individually. I don't compare them to past shows, right? So I just look at it what it was. Did it have anything that even remotely kind of, I mean, Star Ocean brought back nostalgia, but it looks like a PS3 360 era game if you look at some of the stuff. Like some of it looks good, but it's not like a banger. Yeah, there's a Star Ocean fan base out there, including myself, who loves Star Ocean, that was surprised. And I was like, oh my God. And then when I found out that it was multiplat, I was like, oh, well, even better. This is freaking amazing. I thought I was going to have to go on another Square Enix rant on Saturday with Steel, yelling at them for being 2021 and not releasing games across all systems. But this one is multiplat, so I was happy about that. So Star Ocean hit differently for me, but was it like you know, oh, wow, well, they did save a little something, or they did show us a little some, you know, some of that hope. They didn't sell us any of that hope in this one. And I think that's what Sony fans are kind of locked into at this point, that each show is going to at least give them a glimmer of something down the road, right? That's going to be exciting. And this wasn't built, you know, this wasn't built up to be anything but a third-party partnership. However, when they did release that statement, they really didn't clarify, hey, this is more of an indie showcase. Yes, there was some bigger games in there, but they didn't really state that. So when people, like how you first started talking about it, Mav, when you hear third-party partners, people instantly think, hey, we haven't heard from Harry Potter in a while, right? Hey, that could be there. Hey, Final Fantasy 16, is it finally ready to show? That's where your fans are going to, that's where their brains are going to go. And it's up to them, you know, it's up to the fans. I always say this because I get myself typed up for shows and I don't care if I'm let down because it's on me. So it's up to the fans to control themselves. But at the same time, when you say third-party partnerships, there's going to be some big ones that people honestly leap to. Now, if you had come out and said, hey, some of our smaller third-party partnerships, along with maybe, a couple, I don't know how you would actually word it, but had they just set the expectations a little bit better, I don't think they would have gotten the response that they got. But there was just nothing that grabbed you right out of that showcase. Yep. There was nothing that said, oh, wow, this is going to be cool, right? Yes, Little Devil Inside does appeal to me. I like those types of games. I did remember the first trailer that they did on it. So I when they announced it prior to the show, I was like, oh, cool, they're going to show this again. But then the showing, how they decided to show it this time, I get it. But that's not going to be something that sets a show up for success. Like, you don't show off a game showing the traversal after you already gave us a year ago a trailer that showed off some really impressive combat. That's not going to get people more interested in the game by doing that. Most of the show could have probably been done in a blog post, right? For real. Yeah. It really could have been. Or it could have been even a shorter show. They could have highlighted a couple less games and then put the rest in a blog post.
Or they could have just dropped a random video on their YouTube channel.
Correct. It didn't need to be called a state of play, at least from my perspective. Again, did I think it was awful? No. I mean, again, if I don't compare it to anything else, if I just take it for what it is, was it absolutely awful? No, because I like some indie games, but really there were a Little Devil Inside, King of Fighters 15, Star Ocean, and that was about it that really even got me kind of interested, right? And nothing that sold me Sony, which it doesn't have to do. I mean, they don't have to sell Sony at all their shows. But at the end of the day, just nothing really stood out. It was just a bunch of games, right? And we've seen that from Xbox. It's going to happen. We've seen that from Xbox. We've seen it from Nintendo. Not every show can be stellar. Not every show can have some big new game that surprises everybody. Not every show can just be filled with the best of the best all the time. You have to give spotlight to these little games. I don't think this one lived up to what Sony has set for themselves expectation wise for state of plays. And again, I never go into state of plays thinking, well, this is going to be like an short E3 event. That's not what I'm looking for here. Just usually they have one game that really captures the imagination. And then this one, they just didn't. It kind of fell flat. Yeah. So
does it feel to you kind of like, I think, I forgot who it was. I'm sorry that put it on the chat. I showed it on the screen a second ago, but they said like they kind of had to show like the games or whatever for the partners because of deals and stuff like that. And does it feel to you like, okay, if that's the case, they just like all the games that they didn't want to show at the other showcases got lumped into one pile and they just threw it into one?
It was a leftovers
contractual obligation. So, right.
Yeah, the leftovers. Yeah, they're making leftover stew
by the end of the year. Hey, we have to show these by the end of the year. Let's put them in this and try and present it.
And that's on Sony because you should mix those in throughout the year unless they planned on doing this because they knew they weren't going to have much to show at the end of the year. So they said, fine, we'll just have a last show. With a bunch of the ones that we do have to get out there and show people. We'll just have this one last show. People will still be hyped for it. We'll get people's attention. We'll call it a state of play. We'll put it together and throw it down for 20 minutes. The chat is by the way, the chat is nowhere being anywhere as near as nice as I am at all. So, and I agree with you guys. I don't disagree that the show overall was very meh. I don't know if I go so far to say it was trash because there was a few games in there that were interesting to me. But again, that's going to be personal opinion. So if you guys found nothing interesting in that showcase, I totally understand where you're coming from. 100%. Yeah, there was a lot of people who were saying 2 out of 10. Sony people were saying 2 out of 10. Sony fanboys were saying 2 out of 10. I watched a couple of reaction videos from some of the Sony guys. And they were like, are you kidding me? They were dumbfounded that this was a state of play. So I don't blame you guys at all if you found this to be an awful show. I just found a few things that did interest me. So therefore I said it's meh. It's whatever. Yeah. So
wah, 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 wah. it was for me again, I'm just reiterating here.
Yeah.
I gave it a 0 out of 10.
Wow!
Because it was pointless.
Even Star Ocean? Huh?
Because
it was pointless? Okay.
Pointless,
okay.
so it deserves no points.
Okay. All right.
Now, I not gonna say that there wasn't some games in there that I might potentially play, right? But for the sake of having a showcase or any kind of show that has a name behind it that you are promoting as a thing, this was entirely pointless.
Yeah.
They could have just released these trailers on YouTube videos or whatever, and it would have been actually better. Probably, right?
No, I get that. I get that. Again, that's fine. Hey, you know what? One interesting thing is that Sarah Bond, after the show, after Square Enix came out and told everybody that Star Ocean was going to be multi-plat, Sarah Bond actually retweeted it and said, "Hey, happy to bring this JRPG to Xbox. Our teams are working hard." Now, Sarah Bond retweets something that could potentially mean a Game Pass deal. And I would not be shocked because this is Tri-Ace. They're on a shoestring budget. Again, Tri-Ace's old RPGs were great for the time because they didn't have to push boundaries. And on PS2, when they were really hitting their stride, Tri-Ace as a developer, their games lived up to what everything else was being pushed out. But now they're on a shoestring budget and they just can't compete with the big boys when it comes to RPGs. So I would not be surprised if Square Enix would allow this one to come to Game Pass. So we might get Star Ocean just in Game Pass anyways, which would be freaking amazing. So keep your eye on that. Hey, let's real quick before we go into the Halo stuff. I know you're probably bringing up the blog and stuff. I'm going to shout out people in the chat here, man. We got what do we got right now, man? What are we at? 55, 60 people?
55 right now. Shout out to everybody.
55 people. Shout out to all you freaking amazing gamers that come out and see us. Show number 2, 55 people live. We got Sappho in the house. We got InsaneCakes in the house. We got Big Mad Mo in the house. I always want to say Big Bad Mo just because it flows, but Big Mad Mo's in the house. Biggie Butters is in the house. We got Phasma. Shout out to you. Phasma, good to see you. Jigga J is in the house. What's up, brother? What just happened is in here. Always good to see you. Nix, brother, good to see you. Outbreak Podcast. Always fantastic to see you. Lord Ruffness is in the house. I know I can't do Sav over on Iron Lords, but I'm close. Lord Ruffness is in the house. Boogeyman's here. Absolutely, he always is. RDM is in the house. Who else we got here? We got Psycho Knox. Brother Psycho, thank you for dropping by, brother. Appreciate you, as always. Siki's in the house. Who else we got here? We got Back from the Dead checking out the show, of course. Brother, let's see who else. Oh, we got Master Puppets here. I almost said Biggie Butters again. I already said you. Yasid Baez.
Matt Byrnes.
Matt Byrnes. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Isildris Bane is in the house. General Spartan 27 is in here. What else we got here? We got Fastback, brother Chris, checking us out from NLG. Thank you, brother, for coming on by. Elvin, who we read the super chat from. Good to see you. We got UK Lad. Always good to see you. We got Moxie's in here. Thank you. The Fifth Horseman is in here. Who else we got? Man, we got so many dang people in here. We got Anime Heaven.
First in my heart, my lovely wife Kaitlin's in the chat. It's always.
Is she? I didn't see her. She hasn't been saying anything.
Notice me. OFK.
She's ignoring. Okay. She's ignoring me. So whatever. Hi, Fancy. It's good to see you. Thank you. Thank you for the OFK emoji again. Appreciate you. Micah Ford. Micah Ford is in the house. Who else we got in here? We got Toolman 55. We got Doom Reaper. Man, look at all these great people in here. Holy
Stuff
cow.
Sean. Yeah, he's like
Stuff Sean is here?
Yes, Stuff Sean. Bernard Miller.
Bernard Miller's in the house. Good. Last Emperor, good to see you.
And Lord Ruffness, I believe, is Australian. So shout out from the other side of the world there, Lord Ruffness. How you doing, mate? Mike Sperling is in the
Mike
chat.
Sperling is here. Good to see you. Geezer Prime, of course, is in here. Geezer, good to see you. 9 Foot UT. Nice to see you. OCDgamer is here. Who else we got? We got the
that's an active chat, dude. When you can actually see the names, you know what I mean? We got 60 plus people here, and it's real people. Like that.
Lady Foxfire dropped by. Thank you, Lady Foxfire. Good to see you, my friend. Go check out her channel, everybody. She's got a fantastic channel. And we got the Sputtertron is in here. And I think I'm getting pretty much everybody. I should have done this earlier. Rainer the Third Eye dropped by. Black Card is in the house. Thank you, sir. Good to see you as always.
No, I apologize. Lord Ruffness is in the UK. It still sounds similar. I'm sorry, mate.
That does not. Shansu, good to see you. Thank you for dropping in here. All right, I think I got everything caught up. Dude, why do you do that?
I don't know, man. I apologize. I apologize there. Sorry, sir.
Crazy Louie's here, of course. Crazy Louie, the man who has earned that nickname. Go watch his Twitter. He posts some crazy videos. And if you do know Spanish, go check out his channel. Even if you don't know Spanish, go check out his channel and sub anyways. And then spread the word that there's a great Spanish gaming channel going around because him and Sour Blow Gaming do a fantastic job over there. I was using Google Translate the other night and talking to them for a minute. So, Enzo, what's going on? Good to see you in here. All right, Mav. So, let's see. Big news of the week, huh? Monday. Let's see. What day? Monday. Sunday night, we got word that there was going to be some Halo campaign. That's right. Halo Infinite campaign. An overview. I didn't really know what to expect out of this map. I don't know if you went into it with any expectations, but I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, I knew they were going to show us some footage, but I didn't know for how long, and I didn't know what it was going to focus on. So come Monday morning, sure enough, we get this fantastic YouTube presentation from Xbox and 343 showing off the big new shiny open sandbox that they are giving us for Halo Infinite. Man, I've said this on other shows. Mav, you were on. I don't know. Oh, you missed Boom's show, but you probably heard me. The only thing it needs is loot, and this would be the ultimate looter shooter for me. So yeah. That's the only thing that's missing. Look, this is. Again, for anybody who doesn't know, casual Halo fan. I'm not a Halo fanatic. I've enjoyed all of them. So ODST is my favorite. Halo Wars 2 is probably my ultimate favorite. If you had to ask me if you're going to include not normal Halo games, different genre. But again, casual Halo fan. But I do really look forward to the Halo games. This game right here is hitting all the marks for me. Mav, I know you've done a show. You've been on other shows and talked about it. Why don't you just give the people your general thoughts and anything new that's popped in your head since you've had some time to sit on it this week? You've had about 4 days. You've looked at some other stuff. Obviously, we got the new information that just dropped a little bit ago from the Halo Insider. If you want to bring that up, we could certainly do that too and look through it and see if there's anything really new or interesting in there, which I'm sure there is because they got screenshots and everything else. But just give us kind of your overview, where you're at with it. Has anything, now the dust has kind of settled down a little bit and you've thought about it. Do you have any new concerns or is everything on the up and up for Halo and you're, all full steam ahead to December and the launch? What do you think, brother?
Full steam ahead, ready to go. Yeah. I think the Halo talk is finally over. Shout
out to 3-Bit. Shout out to Gaz.
Yep. Shout out to everybody. Hey, I love your opinions. I just don't care about delaying Halo. I don't want to hear it. It's ready to go. Sans 1 mode, right? Hey, that's okay. Couple. A couple, they'll come later. It's okay. What we got in this campaign overview was the trailer. I think a lot of people just watched it. We're like, oh, that's it? 6 minutes? That's okay. But for those that actually took the time and watched it back and kind of paused and dissected this trailer, oh my word, there was absolutely a lot to comb through and go over with this thing. We had information about how the upgrade system works. You had information how the outpost system works, how the overall open world game design was going to work. You got new information on story elements with the fact that they say you're being hunted. You got new enemies that are introduced that have names, right? Like actually introducing named enemies and characters that are absolutely look menacing and awesome and going to be a fun fun to fight against, fun to actually be in the world with, as opposed to like where a lot of Halo fans were kind of like sick of fighting, robots, the Prometheans and all that stuff. It's like we got to see this look at a lot of things here. We know there's weapon variants in the campaign, right? We know that you can call in vehicles now by choice after you capture a base. There's a lot of elements going on here that's going to add for a lot of replay value, and also kind of change the game of what Halo is. And they make a point at stating that in this trailer. They call it the new era of Halo, right? Yeah, this is not just the same old Halo we've always known, but the most important thing for me was the focus on the story still, because throughout that whole thing, even though you're experiencing this new gameplay loop system, open world, all these things, which is gorgeous, by the way, that with updated details, you can look at side by side comparisons, and it's night and day with the level of detail. But also the focus with the story, with the thing being narrated by Cortana, and it kind of just added to that element and flow for that. And then they're diving in. You see actually Cortana a couple times in this trailer as well, which is really cool. So I got a deep dive video I kind of did, just kind of dissecting things that I noticed when going through it, like the UNSC Infinity. I don't want to go into too much here if you don't want that. But if you want to check out the things that I think and my theories and everything going on with that, check out that deep dive video, because I think there's some interesting things in there that you could take away from that. If you just watch the 6-minute video and aren't really cluing into everything, you might have missed, because this thing was really well put together to give information. It wasn't just like hey, we're gonna go in there and do this vertical slice, right? Which is what the last thing they did was like a vertical slice. This was actually meant to provide information to finally answer questions about what is this game going to be, and that's what I wanted, right? And I know that's what a lot of Halo fans wanted, and I think this answered a lot of those questions. As a casual Halo fan, Pong, did it answer a lot of questions for you? Your audio's out.
Try now.
Yeah, there we go.
Professional podcaster. Look, no, it definitely answered the questions for me. I love seeing it evolve. I know not everybody's going to be on board with this. I get that. I know some people are really worried about the semi-open world aspect of it, if it is going to be a Ubisoft version of Halo. I don't think so. I think obviously elements are there. Obviously, they looked at other games and said, okay, what can we do? But I think this is probably closer to what the original Halo CE would have been if the technology had been there, right? I think this was more close to the original vision of what they wanted Halo to be. I think Halo could have been an open world a long time ago. I think they kind of got stuck when they obviously became so gigantic. The Halo franchise became so gigantic, and the expectations for Halo were there. And I don't think 343, when they came in and took over, I don't think they wanted to mess with that formula too much. So they did 4 and 5. Mixed results, on both of them. That's been well covered, well documented. But I think this time around with Halo Infinite, with the idea that they were going to make this more of a games of service, something that lasts for years and years. Now, again, they said 10 years. We'll see if that happens. But they wanted to obviously last. They wanted to be able to expand on all the lore that Halo has. We've talked about that so many times. I've talked about that even as a casual Halo fan. Like, I believe that Halo has been underutilized throughout the history with Xbox and with Microsoft. They could have expanded this lore so that it was as big as anything we've seen in sci-fi. Right? I think the Halo lore could have been expanded out to be as deep and as gigantic as a Star Trek. Right, which has some amazing lore behind it. I really do. And again, that's just from somebody who doesn't have the investment that a lot of people do in Halo. But I think that they finally said, you know what, we're going to go this route. And we're going to, once that decision was made, and they said, okay, now what are we going to do to make this happen? Well, obviously, one quick and easy way to do that is to create this kind of world, this open sandbox. I love that they're embracing the sandbox. The sandbox has always been there, right? But you were limited because it was more of a focused campaign. From the campaign side of things, it was more focused, right? So therefore, the sandbox wasn't as quite as wide open. Multiplayer, it's always been there, right? That's been one of their fortes. So, but with the openness of this campaign now, guess what? Everything that we see in like a big team battle can now happen in your campaign. All that wild, crazy stuff can now go on. And I love that they did the homage to Battlefield 2042. I thought it was a great little wink wink at them because it's always been only in Battlefield. Halo's coming after that. They want their only in Halo moments, right? They want those to happen in the campaign. It's happened plenty in the multiplayer. They want to bring that fully over to the campaign. That's why when I was watching this, the one thing that really hit home was the whole video screamed for co-op. Screamed for co-op in my eyes. And again, I know it's coming. I can't wait till it shows up. But I think it was a huge miss not to have it day one. I think that would have put this campaign over the top. I know not everybody would have played it co-op out the gates. I know there's tons of people who like to experience the campaign all by themselves first, and I get that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying with the open world sandbox, there was nothing more than I wanted to see than a short little clip of Master Chief talking to the weapon or whatever her name is at this point. That's still her name, right, Mav?
As of right now, yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to see them walk up, when he's scouting one of those bases, and he's got his. I just wanted the weapon to turn to him and say, "Chief, this one looks a little tough. We may need some help." And then he go,
right.
Then have Chief go, "You're right," and then call in, and all of a sudden ODST drops come in, and there's 3 more of your buddies joining you. And now you take on the base, and they would show the video of 2 of them hopping in a warthog, right, and taking off while the other 2 are grappling into the base, right, and utter chaos everywhere. That's what that video screamed to me. And again, I know it's not for everybody. I know it's not everybody's dream, but I can't wait till co-op shows up. I can't wait till they figure it out because I think that that's going to be the replayability of the campaign world after everybody gets it all opened up and you can go back into this is going to be fantastic with friends. So I can't wait for that aspect to get implemented. But overall, I love the mini bosses. I love the boss aspect. Again, when he was fighting one of the name bosses, I was just waiting for all sorts of colored loot to pop out of him after they killed him, right? It was Destiny style or whatever you want to say, or Borderlands style, because that's exactly what it reminded me of. But I love that. I love having mini bosses and then having major bosses. It'll be interesting to see how they divide up the map. How you move from point to point or section to section on the map, if they're just going to open it all up, or if you do have to conquer one section to open up another section, et cetera, a la Ubisoft, right? That'll be interesting to see how they work that out. But the story beats are there. I think they do have to nail this story. But again, with the plan that they have in place, look, we're just going to get a part of the Banished here. We're probably not even going to see Atriox other than maybe some cutscenes. We're set up to fight the hand of Atriox, which is Atriox's crew, like his lieutenants. Okay, that's what they've set this up for. And we don't even know if the Flood's going to get involved in this and whatever else is going to be involved. They've got this laid out to be Chief's ultimate challenge. This is Chief on his final, maybe his final run against all odds, right? He's going to have everybody. He's got the Spartan Hunter after him. He's got whatever the girl being at the end was, and there's been much debate about what she is, right? Because nobody knows. But he's going to have those. And then he's got the hand of Atriox from the Banished. And then if they throw the Flood into it on top of it, my God, man. Like, Chief's got his work cut out for him in this one. Okay, so this is going to be the ultimate Chief experience here. Love the upgrade system. Love that they brought that in there. I love that you can feel more powerful as you go. I love that it gives you the flexibility to play how you want to. I think that's going to be another key. So everything that they showed hit me the right way. I am more excited for the campaign than I was because of this. And I think that says a lot for me personally coming into this. I really can't wait till December 8th. Again, I'm going to be missing not being able to play in co-op, but being able to call in any vehicle I want to at the forward operating base or whatever that is, and be able to decide how I want to tackle things. If I want to just sit up on the mountains and snipe people, I can do that. Man, you're talking all my languages right there. That's the way I love to play games. I love that sense of exploration, and I love to be able to tackle different areas the way that I want to. And then it still seems like we are going to have linear moments against certain beings, bosses, or against in certain areas where it will narrow down and you will be more in a focused area. And so I think that is going to be handled well. And then again, with the setup here over the years, the DLC that they're going to be able to drop, the expansions that they're going to be able to drop on this and tell different stories. Like, I cannot wait till we get to Atriox. However long that takes, whether it's a year from now, whether it's 3 years from now, I cannot wait till we get to Atriox. That is going to be a shining moment. Atriox is my favorite antagonist in Halo by far. He's one of the greatest. Just setup wise in Halo Wars 2, he is so perfect for that universe. I can't wait until we get to battle him. So I am extremely excited for this game.
Yeah, they're setting it up for the long haul with this thing.
Yeah,
like with the design, you can see where you could just picture in your head all the directions they could take this with.
Yes,
updates and add-ons and everything, right? And I think it's just getting the core elements right.
Yeah,
and everything that we've seen from the campaign now feels like they've got that down. And it's just going to get updated with new content and new stuff constantly. There's a lot of stuff to dig into on this Halo Waypoint article.
Yeah, I was watching you scroll through it. I scrolled through it a little bit myself.
It's just absolutely awesome. And a shout out to Lord Ruffness here, who hit us with a $5 super chat as well. Thank you, sir. And he says, does a book writer tell you everything in their upcoming book, or do they tell you to read it? Haters, stop asking for even more Halo story. Yeah, we don't need any more story. I don't want any more story at all, because I was able to piece together too much, I think, already from the trailers.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, I don't want any more story. I think they answered the questions I had with gameplay design. Right? I wanted to know what I was getting for for me, I got Game Pass, right? But for somebody that's going to spend $60 on this game, what is it that they are buying? Like, besides knowing that it's a Halo game, right? We saw the one vertical slice, but we hadn't seen anything in like over a year from that. And this answered all of those questions and more in a tightly packed 6-minute trailer. Yep. And that's what this was about. And it just answered every question really that I had about it. So shout out to them. And then they followed it up with massive Halo Waypoint that answers so many more questions. And I can't really read it and talk here on the show. Like, I'm kind of going and looking at the pictures and kind of skimming through stuff.
I think it was interesting. Go to that. First of all, did you see the new render of that the skimmer? That looks pretty freaking cool, man. That looks
the skimmers look like a great new enemy type, and I think there's other new enemies that we may have not seen yet as well, because I think they said that in this article. I kind of saw that, and as well as enemy variants, right? So there's not just a brute. There's like different classes of brutes, like classes of elites and all that kind of stuff, right? Grunts. It's going to be pretty awesome to go through this and experience this. But my favorite thing was these guys, like Jaga or Domnai.
Yep.
The Harbinger of Truth as well.
Yep.
Like
the Harbinger and Jaga. Yeah, I forgot their names when I was speaking, but yeah.
Awesome stuff. We see the jackals here. The feeling of being hunted and overwhelmed with where you're. We haven't had this really since the early Halo games, right? So
correct.
I think this is going to go in some great directions, and this is supposed to be the new Craig type character here. So on the screen now, like
yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool. Did you look at the map there, Mav?
Yeah, the one with
did you see all the points of interest on there? I don't think that was shown in the Overwatch. It was much less than this one. Yeah,
they didn't show all the
look at all
of interest. Now, something
Yeah.
else is the collectibles.
Yes.
I didn't mention this in the deep dive video I did, but there's a lot of collectibles in this game. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different types of collectibles, and it says area.
So area.
Those are going to be per area. There's that many collectibles.
So there's 5,
right?
8, 16, awesome. 18, 30, 32, 37 collectibles in that one area.
Yeah, and then also as you do like there's little side objectives and stuff where like saving these Marines from capture and all this kind of stuff. I think that's going to strengthen the FOB base and award you points for upgrades for weapons and stuff like that. So there's a lot going into this. You're going to pretty much be, I think, over time taking over this Halo ring. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
You're base by base. You're going to be taking control, but I don't think. I think there's going to be drop-ins randomly as well.
There could be random encounters, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It's so different for a Halo game,
right? Look at the verticality, Mav. Look at how tall that mountain is, that mountain range or whatever it is right there. And there's stuff to do all the way up on top. They are definitely opening this way up. This is...
Yeah, I just want to fly around at night.
Yes.
I want to get in a wasp.
Yep.
Let it go to nighttime. And I want to fly around the Halo ring. That's all I want. I'll be so happy. I just can't imagine being able to do that in a Halo game. It gives me chills just thinking about it. So I think they're nailing it, dude. Like, yeah, and honestly,
there was nitpicks you could make in this part. Of course, there was a lot of nitpicks, right? You could sit back and nitpick this apart if you really wanted to. Again, I never expected. I don't know why. I get the idea that Halo is a pillar franchise, but the expectation that they were going to come out with a cross-gen on a brand new engine, some kind of title that was going to push the benchmarks for graphics. I don't understand people doing that other than they just want to complain. Because for me, the graphics are good enough. I watched the 4K version, right, of the after they were done on my OLED, right? And it's still compressed. Like you're not getting, 1-for-1 what you're going to see when we fire up the game in December. But you get a closer look at it, and on my OLED, it looked gorgeous. Yes, there was things I could nitpick, right? There was still no terrain deformation when, you're driving the Warthog around, which I think should be there and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the graphics, there was parts that were absolutely drop dead gorgeous, right? And then there was other parts where you could say, okay, well, this wasn't, it's not exactly the best. But at the end of the day, playing through this game, there's going to be so much chaos and stuff going on. I don't think it really matters. This is a Halo game. This is not you pick any of your other top graphical games out there. It's not that type of game, right? And I think that it was more important for them to take a step back. And I think that they really made the decision because Halo 5 was top line graphics. It still looks gorgeous to this day. But a lot of people were disappointed in those graphics because it wasn't all Halo graphics, right? I think they took a step back and kind of went back in time and pulled the graphics from older Halos and brought them forward. I love the colors in this game, right? I love the colors and the interiors on the buildings. That first shot when they're walking into that building and you got the dark with the red lit up and all that man, that looked so good. And it was such a leap from what we saw a year ago. that I really, at that point, and all the details in the armor and the weapons, and we saw that in the multiplayer as well. We knew kind of that was going to be there, but just to see it in action with the vehicles and all that kind of stuff, and then the skyboxes were absolutely gorgeous. They did some really great work. Like there's one scene where they're looking up, and you can see the space on the other side, right? You can see space and stars and all that kind of stuff. It looked really good, and some of those sunset scenes while they were flying looked amazing. So they did a nice job with the lighting. I think it is Halo, and I think that those people that are demanding or expecting some kind of breakthrough in graphics just were not being realistic, or like I said, just want to complain, because I think it looks great. But
the other
I
thing
think
too, Pong, with the graphics is a lot of people are judging things based on a video that we're watching and not being in the game, right? Like
correct.
Any of these games, when you're actually playing and you're in the world and you're just invested in it, and I guarantee you people are going to be taking screenshots out the wazoo of this world when they're in it, just at the beauty of the game. So
with how they got the lighting done and stuff, it's perfectly set up for photos. I mean, it's going to be gorgeous. There's going to be some great shots coming out of there. Yeah, for sure. I just really like what they did. I think overall, at first, when we first talked about it, when we were playing the flighting, I said the multiplayer was obviously going to carry Halo for the next 10 years, if that's their ultimate plan. I said the multiplayer always will be the one that carries the load. I'm now at the point where the campaign is going to carry almost as much as the multiplayer is, if they do this right. Like if they continue expansions right, if they give us more stuff to do and they add things, once they get co-op implemented, what's stopping them from adding some type of raid system, right? Where you go back in and you raid, right? And you do multiplayer raids. That would be so cool, to attack a huge giant base with a bunch of people, pick out your vehicles and roll on in. Man, that would be cool. But they could do so many different things. So if they hit all the right spots with the campaign, this campaign's going to carry it just as much as the multiplayer is. This is the most complete Halo, and I have said that from the beginning. I think this has got the potential to be the one that topples 3 as the overall choice for best Halo of all time. I think this one does have that opportunity. So it's going to be pretty incredible to think about from where we came from.
I can't wait to see even though the game hasn't come out yet, right? Yeah, I'm still thinking about 5 years from now. Yeah, what is all going to be in Halo Infinite. Mm-hmm. Yep. And the amount of content that will be there and what the game will have turned into over time. And my mind just goes in so many places with this. So I'm super excited. I can't wait. They're hitting it out of the park.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Pong, now we have another massive thing that we wanted to do on this show. Mm-hmm. And KlowBro had went through and had broken down on Twitter all of those things. So what are those things?
I love it. So obviously we've gotten a lot of information over the past few weeks, especially on all the different unnamed or just project named games. There was a lot. There's more in the works than even this, but obviously Jez over the past couple months has been hinting at his stuff. Grub, of course, Jeff Grub, shout out to him, has been hinting at a bunch of stuff. Everybody in the know has been saying, look, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that nobody's aware of. Then we started getting project names. Then we got some descriptions of certain games. Then we got more project names, thanks to Jez. And then all of a sudden, people started breaking news and breaking details, like Jeff Grubb and Jez confirming about these projects and actually what they are. And KlowBro did a fantastic job of kind of giving a summary of each one of these that we now know about. So I thought that Mav and I would run through each one of these. Mav, we should probably just do each game and kind of our thoughts. I'll read off the descriptor and you can go ahead with your thoughts, and then I'll say my thoughts and I'll read the next one and we can go that route. So is that okay with you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Let's go for it, man.
Let's go for it. So yeah, so this is a great summary. Again, shout out to Clobrill, and shout out to Jeff Grubb, shout out to Jez, shout out to all the people, whether it's Special Nick, all these guys that do great work, especially in the Xbox community, because we know PlayStation really doesn't have any insiders. Shout out to all these guys who do get this stuff and help us understand a little bit about what's going on. Again, I know not everybody likes this stuff, but I do. I like to know what's coming down the pipeline and what we got working on. So let's start here. First one is basically the newest one, the one that we just got information on, which was Project Belfry. Jez, I think, had said this 2 weeks ago, and suddenly we did get confirmation on what it kind of was. So Project Belfry is going to be a side-scrolling action game. Right, and it's going to be done by Stoic Studios. This is the team that has done the Banner Saga. Okay, Banner Saga. If you guys and gals have not played Banner Saga, it is a turn-based RPG. Okay, but it is hand-drawn animation, and the hand-drawn animation is absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. Okay, it's some of the best hand-drawn animation I've seen. It's a unique style. It's not what you think of when you think of, per se, hand-drawn animation. It takes you back to an earlier time, almost kind of 80s, 70s, 80s hand-drawn animation, some of it. So, like Heavy Metal, for anybody who's seen Heavy Metal. But you got to go check these games out. If you're not into turn-based, totally understand why you never played it. It's a smaller studio, but they did have great success with Banner Saga. It's considered a very well-done game for those of us that do. There's three of them, actually, a trilogy. For those of us that do love strategy games, and turn-based games.
And
so
they were actually reviewed extremely well as well. Like they're very well-renowned games.
So Microsoft is partnering with them, Stoic Studios. Development state is currently unknown, likely not very early anymore, given the Banner Saga 3 was released in 2018, meaning they could have been working on this game for a couple, 2, maybe even 3 years at this point. It's a side-scrolling action game brawler similar to Dragon's Crown. Again, I brought up Dragon's Crown before, Mav, and you didn't remember it. Go check out Dragon's Crown. I played it on PlayStation. Fantastic game. Some of the most beautiful animation you will ever see. It is so well done. It is so much fun. It's like Golden Axe. Right? It's like Golden Axe, but like 100 times Golden Axe, right? So from characters, from everything, it is so good. So anyways, that got me excited right away. Art has Princess Mononoke vibes. Shout out to Fancy, the big anime watcher in here right now. She'll know exactly what we're talking about. Just joking. Fancy, don't worry. You can look up pictures if you want to. It's gorgeous. Princess Mononoke is one of my favorite anime of all time. Again, the art style in that game is very unique. If they are going for that look, I am all in. The Belfry, which is a bell tower for anybody who doesn't know that, the Belfry bell tower functions as your base where you're going to craft items and upgrade gear. So Mav, out of all that information, which isn't a whole lot, again, these are projects that we didn't even know about until a couple weeks ago. How are you feeling about Project Belfry?
Hey, this is probably one of the smaller ones out of the leaked games, right? But it shows also something that is I was really thinking about a lot when going through all these is Xbox Game Studio Publishing is taking another step and another level because before it was kind of like their main goal was to like use some of the Xbox IP and find a studio to make those games, right? They needed to find a studio to make Battletoads. They needed to find a studio to make Flight Sim, and so on. And that's kind of been the MO. Like, hey, and that what Xbox has been doing that for a long time, getting third-party devs to make their first-party games. Quite a bit of games. Even if you go back before they bought Gears of War, it was made by Epic, right? So this is another step for Xbox Game Studio Publishing, and them reaching out and funding different games and different genres, different types of games funded, developed by third-party games that aren't just filling in gaps from their existing IP in order to kind of, hey, we got to have a game this year. We got to have this. This is another level of like, we're investing in the creation of new content, right? The funding games that it seems like probably these, I would assume that these developers, studios would approach Xbox and pitch this type of game. And they would say, okay, green light, let's go. Let's do this. Right. This is not the same thing as, hey, we need to find somebody to make this said game and then go out and get a studio. So that's the number one thing that stands out to me throughout a lot of these, because of the variety and new IP as well. Right. So this game is made by a very well thought of development studio that has a history of making very well received games. And we're going to get a new creation from them that is exciting. This worked for Xbox before when they made a deal with Moon Studios for Ori, right? And things like that. So this is going to be potentially a dark horse in all of this, where you don't really think about it too much, and then all of a sudden it comes out and it's like people are talking about, hey, this is one of the best games of the year and all this kind of stuff. Who knows exactly how it's going to turn out? But the premise of it sounds really exciting. Side-scrolling action, similar to Dragon's Crown, like you said. I have looked it up since you had said that stuff, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Princess Mononoke vibes. The belfry, it says, functions as your base. You craft items, upgrade gear. We don't know. They said also the development state, but they did go on to say that Cobalt said that the Banner Saga 3 released in 2018. Right. So there's reason to believe it could have been in the works as after that, right? So we don't know exactly how far away it is, but I just love the fact that Xbox is not just investing in the things we know about, they're also investing into new things that we had no idea about. And we did this one thing on the channel like a month ago or so, where I went through and I did, hey, all the games
breakdown
coming out that we know of for Xbox and the projects that we know of as in the works. This adds to that list, right?
Sure does.
And that list was already at 45, and I had already forgotten about Crossfire X, so that would have made it 46. So this is another one, right?
Yep.
So there's other ones that we're going to talk about too that weren't included in there as well. So, I mean, we're talking about remember what Jez had said before again about, hey, a third of the games we knew about, and then we new games we knew about. And we kind of figured that we knew about 20 of the new games. And this like would lead to believe that they have about 60 projects, right, in current works between all of the studios. It's all piecing together, and that whole thing we talked about them possibly hitting one a month, roughly, it's feasible. It's very absolutely feasible, and it's absolutely mind blowing.
Yep, it's going to be insane. It's going to be insane.
Does this one excite you? Like, this is like up your alley, 100%. Right?
If you couldn't tell, absolutely. Again, Stoic Studios. When I heard it was the Banner Saga team, I was like, what? And again, even though I think it was Grub who said this is a much bigger project than this team has ever done before. So this is going to be on a different scale than Banner Saga is.
Banner Saga games weren't even small games, though, really, right?
No, not content-wise, because they were strategy turn-based. There was a lot of hours of content in those, right? And it was a fully the lore and everything was deep. They had all these stories going on. Like, this was a giant kingdom that you were, experiencing a story. And so there was, different kings involved and all that kind of stuff. So there was politics involved in it. They had a lot. So this team is one of those teams, Mav. This is one of those up and coming teams that we've seen Xbox, in the past, partner with, like you were talking about Moon Studios and Ori and that kind of stuff, and get something great out of it. But in the past, Xbox hasn't been in the position they're in. So could this be more tryouts? It certainly could be, because Phil loves those up and coming teams, right? They love those kind of style teams that are growing consistently and putting out better and better work. And this to me is trusting a smaller studio to do something that they have not done before, which shows a lot of confidence, which means whatever they pitched to Phil got Phil excited. And we know what happens when Phil gets excited. We do. Things get done. Okay. So for me, the minute I heard Stoic and the minute I heard what it was going to be, it brightened up my day. I cannot wait to see if they have been working on this for 2 to 3 years. This is not going to be a 5-year AAA kind of game, right? We could hear about this next year at E3, right? We could legit hear about this. This could be one of those games that surprise shows up. Right, that all of a sudden out of the blue they're ready to show, depending on how big this thing's going to be. But again, from the words and from the team itself, I don't think this is this is a massive 5-year plan. So figure 3 years to put together, depending on how long they've been working on it. That means next year we could see this game. So I am really excited. It's got everything I look for. If the artwork is anywhere close to what they're describing, even the Banner Saga was great artwork. If it comes close to anything that they're describing with Princess Mononoke vibes, oh my God. Yeah, I'm all about this, man. So, but it'll be interesting to see where this partnership goes down the road, because again, Xbox was not in the position they are now. Satya today himself came out, because obviously Age of Empires 4 launched today. Satya is not a gamer, folks. I'm not even going to try to play around. Okay, Satya is not a gamer. I'm sure he enjoys to pick up the controller every once in a while or watch other people play, but he's not a gamer. The guy would rather read books and go sip on cognac or whatever else he's going to do, right? Satya came out again today and tweeted out about Age of Empires 4, reminding everybody that we're still all in. Right? Microsoft is still all in on gaming. He's reminding people. On top of that, Sarah Bond, when she retweeted the Star Ocean announcement, somebody underneath said, "Great job, Sarah, to you and your team for bringing these JRPGs. We need more." She answered that person and said, "Working on it every single day." Like you were just talking about, Mav, there are deals upon deals upon deals that we have no idea about. So we're going to be hearing more and more as the years go on. But like you said, I think it eventually gets to the point where it's one per month. I think you are right there. And I can't wait to see what the Stoic Studios does. And if this Belfry turns out to be as good as it sounds, as good as advertised, perfect game for Game Pass, more diversity in Game Pass, and who knows? Maybe this is one of those up-and-coming teams that they decide to add to the umbrella. I would be more than happy with that. Let's move on. So Project Dragon is next up, Mav. Now, we've heard a lot about Project Dragon, or at least as much as we can hear about it, because it's so early in development. But we heard about this quite a while ago. This was one of Jez's first ones that he started teasing on the Xbox 2. Shout out to him and brother Randall Thor. So IO Interactive, which we know is the creators of the Hitman series. Hitman should be up for the Game of the Year this year. Unfortunately, people are going to forget about it, but Hitman 3 was absolutely out of this world. I still got to get back to it. But IO Interactive has definitely proven themselves. They are no longer under Square Enix. They are a free agent. There has been smoke around IO Interactive, but they got this project going with Xbox called Project Dragon. This is a fantasy RPG with multiplayer / co-op. Very early in production, which we are aware of. Incredibly ambitious project. This is going to be a big game, folks. This is buckle up. Okay, IO is known for Hitman, third person, very not linear, but very controlled environments that you're in, where you can do a lot of different things, right? Like some of the greatest variety ever invented in the Hitman games. But at the end of the day, it's still a very controlled environment. We're talking about a big open world here by the sounds of things. We're talking about something where possibly even MMO level stuff here. This is a incredibly ambitious project, a dream project by some core IOI devs. Yo, I always love to hear about dream projects. Not that they always turn out great, but what that means is that they've been thinking about this game for a very long time. And if you know anything about creative people, when they're thinking about something, and they're that passionate about a project, they've been working on this in the background, whether in their heads or writing things down, getting ideas together for a very long time. Much like how Todd Howard has had Starfield on his mind for 2 decades plus, and has probably already had a ton of lore written out prior to them actually going to make the game. Whenever you hear Dream Project, and it's been around for a while in some core developers' heads, they probably already got a lot worked out. So again, Dream Project by some core IOI devs, co-op aspects and dungeons. Again, this says to me, big open world, potential MMO style game, maybe drop in, drop out co-op, maybe get groups of people together to go raid dungeons that we've seen done plenty of times. I've heard Jez say it was Diablo-esque style. So I don't know, I think he corrected and said not the top down view, like not the isometric view. I think he said it was not the isometric view. So again, when you say that to me, this is AAA. This is big time project. This is something that, again, was brought to Phil's attentions by IO Interactive. We know that. We know that he saw it, loved it, greenlit it. So let's get a deal done. Let's do this. That means something to me as well. Mav, what do you think about Project Dragon? Again, we've heard about this for a while now. This has been something that's been kind of known out there. What are your thoughts on this one?
What I picture in my head from this is like Dragon's Dogma, right? Something
good call
in that vein, right?
Yep.
And it had multiplayer elements to it, right? It was a massive game. The fact that the points that he put down and when he wrote this, and I know that a lot of these come from other people, right? So I don't know exactly the 100%. The sources on everything, right? But it says Dream Project by some core IOI devs, right? That also makes me happy, right? Now we remember another Dragon Dream Project game that didn't tend to work, that didn't end up working out, right? So
that wasn't really a dream project, though. That was like a side girl, right? And they put all they took all the money, put it into other projects, and didn't give Phil anything in return. That was awful. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
So fantasy RPG with multiplayer, co-op, very early in production. It means we're probably 5 years away, 4 years away, at least. Who knows? They're working on the Bond game as well, right? So I don't know when that game's even going to come out. I don't know personally even how many teams they have. I know they're capable of a lot because the Hitman games have a lot of content, right? They're not lacking in content. There's a lot of levels. They're adding on stuff. They're constantly working on those. What I think of IO, I think of quality with graphics, with gameplay design, and trying to picture them doing some Dragon RPG. I want to see what I hope for is like more of a like ultra, like a little bit more of a realistic like approach here, right? With some fun multiplayer elements put in there, and I'm super excited about this. Out of all the games that we're going to talk about, this I know the least about.
Yep,
because it's who knows exactly where it is, and it may never happen, right? That's one thing with all of these games. They're in this stage that sometimes things happen, sometimes fall through. Devs get move on to another project or whatever, right? Based on the fact that this was also in that same time when Jez had leaked the Typhoon game, it ended up being Contraband, right?
Correct. Which we're talking about. Yep.
It seems like there's validity to this. You know what I mean? So I don't think these are just random, right? I think there's multiple people have been talking about these things and all this stuff. So there's smoke here, there definitely is fire. I just hope this game actually comes to fruition, and I can't wait to find out what it's called, I want to see some artwork for the game. I want to see something to where I can wrap my head around the direction. But everything that they've said sounds super intriguing and something I cannot wait to play.
Exactly.
So,
and we got to have faith.
I hope it's real.
Yeah, no, it's going to be. And I think that when you say dream project, that means that these people working on this are going to put their all into this. That's why I love dream projects, right? Again, not necessarily, again, there are passion projects, but and then there are dream projects, and there's some mixture of them. But when somebody says a dream project, again, this is something they've been thinking about. They're going to put all their effort. They have a company like Xbox behind them on this one. This is not something that they're, putting together just trying to sell, hoping that they get a publisher interested. They've already got all that. They're free of all that worry. Now it's just, let's make what we've always wanted to make. And I think that's why we're going to see this one for sure. And again, from the Hitman series, it's going to be quality. It's going to be gorgeous. And whatever they come out, I'm looking forward to 1000%. And I cannot wait, like you, Mav, just to start seeing some trickling, whether it is some concept art that one of the artists happens to post, like we see from time to time, just to give me an idea of what we're looking at. But if this turns out to be another RPG, another big RPG, my God, Mav, how many RPGs are we going to be playing on Xbox over the next 5-6 years? How many? This is getting out of control. It's my favorite genre.
One every 6 months, one every year, one every year. I don't know, man. Like,
I'm a kid, man. I love this. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know you're excited for the anniversary edition of Skyrim coming out in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
This RPG train's starting 2022, and it's not going to stop.
Yep, not going to stop. It's not going to stop at all, and I'm loving it. Yep.
Starfield's kicking it off in November.
Yep.
And then imagine in 2023, 2024, you got Fable, Avowed
for sure, 2023.
Yeah. Then you have Elder Scrolls 6, like few years after that. And like it goes into
we got Compulsion. Well, Compulsion's gonna be third person, but we got In Exiles game, which is gonna be an RPG steampunk setting. Supposedly,
and there's another Obsidian game that we don't know.
Another Obsidian game, yep. And then we're gonna get Outer Worlds 2 in there as well, which is another RPG. Look, dominating the RPG market, like we've talked about, Mav. I think Phil's plan is 1 to 2 AAA RPGs per year. I think that's set up perfectly with what he's got going on. It's this. Ooh, man, we're getting some good stuff.
Yeah,
Golden
it's
age of
almost
gaming.
Like they're treating it like the movie industry in a way where it's like, okay, like you got to have your one big tent pole of this genre, for each thing and for each year, right? That's kind of like what they're trying to build here, and it's making sense. So you're gonna see them check all these boxes, and what they don't do by the studios that they've acquired and from their first party, they're adding to the first party by making these deals. Absolutely. And these deals are not the same thing as going and making a marketing deal and getting a timed exclusivity. These deals are green lighting projects.
Correct.
These deals are projects that get pitched to them. Hey, we got this idea. Can we make this work? Yeah, let's fund it. Let's do this thing, right? And then it takes several years of investment before Microsoft gets to reap the rewards. But the rewards for Microsoft here is not in game sales; it's in subscriptions. So these are going to compound itself over time and keep adding to the subscription base. And then you're going to have this pipeline of content that they need to fill to keep the subscribers happy, to keep the subscriptions coming in. And that's what this is all about. This is a huge investment. And we're only 2 games in.
Correct. Hey, look. And you know what, Jasper? You're right. Until OFK comes out, then it's PS5 gamer only for me. I need to find a PS5 very soon. We do not have a launch date for OFK, but when that world tour kicks off, I'm going to be there.
2025, Pong.
2025?
OFK's 2025.
All right, so the next game we already know about. This is no longer a project name anymore, but Clobrill threw it in here because at one time it was, which is Contraband. Mav just brought it up by Avalanche Studios. Could possibly be part of Xbox Studios very soon. We'll see. There's a lot of smoke around that. So this is the one we got a trailer for, obviously at E3. Great trailer, even though it was just CGI, didn't show much. But again, anytime you throw great Steely Dan music into a trailer, I'm all on board. So we are good there. But co-op heist game. This is in the middle of production, not early anymore. Exploring the fictional Southeast Asian world of the 1970s buy-in. Online action game where players plan out and execute heists in teams of 4. Also includes car combat, brought to life by the latest iteration of Avalanche Studios Group's Apex engine and built to take full advantage of the Xbox Series consoles. We've also heard from Grubb, confirmed that he's heard, and Jez both have kind of reiterated this. Car combat, there will be guns, so you will be shooting, but it's going to be supposedly focused on the car combat. And anybody who played Mad Max, again, underrated game, now at 60 frames, totally different experience by Avalanche. Go play Mad Max. Do yourself a favor if you got the time. I know we got a ton of content out there, but it's always cheap. It's always on sale. You can find it anywhere. Mad Max is underrated, but the car vehicle combat in that game was a high bar, right? That set a standard for car combat. Excellent job by Avalanche. They know what they're doing here. Yeah, that's what they're going to focus on. Matt, we've heard more, we saw the trailer. We've been hearing about Contraband for a long time. Obviously they showed it at E3. Obviously we kind of know what to expect. We still don't have the full picture here. Exactly what are these heists? How varied are these heists going to be? Is there going to be different contraband? Is it all just going to be generic contraband, or are we going to have our choices? Are we going to be having PvP along with PvE, where other teams, much like Hood Outlaws and what is it? Hood Outlaws and whatever it is.
Legends.
Legends. Thank you. Yeah. Where you are competing over the same contraband, and one team can steal your contraband. I mean, there's a lot of questions when it comes to contraband. Love the idea of it for sure. Anything co-op multiplayer, especially add vehicles into it, all this kind of stuff. Planning heists, that sounds extremely awesome. In theory, again, it's all about execution at the end of the day. But I do like what Avalanche does. I love their games. And so we've heard quite a bit. There's still a lot of questions. Anything you've got to add to the contraband talk that has been on your mind since we started seeing it and hearing about this?
Yeah, man. Contraband sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Like the trailer was surprising because this one was one of the leaked games that came true, right? And that this one adds credibility to everything else on this list. So that's where one reason this one stands out from the crowd a little bit. The concept of it sounds pretty awesome because I think I read something and they were talking about they kind of took some inspiration from Sea of Thieves, right? But just inspiration. I don't think this is like a Sea of Thieves clone game with cars. I think this is also one of the more ambitious games that Avalanche has created, and I think the partnership with Xbox is a lot of it has to do with the cloud and the online infrastructure and stuff that just really makes a lot of sense and fits for this game. And then we'll see where that relationship goes, right? Because it's been interesting comments made. But as far as the game goes itself, you're right. I mean, Mad Max, and there's some other games that they've done too that are just really fun to play, and they do have a good quality to them. I want to see with this funding and everything what they're able to bring, because it sounds like this is going to be something we've never really played before. That's the other thing that has me excited is what is like this seems like a new category of game, right? Like I haven't played anything that sounds exactly like this.
No, we've had like Payday and that kind of stuff that tried to pull it off, but
yeah, but with the car combat,
right? With the car combat, correct?
Like, when you add the like an online I mean, we've had like Twisted Metal and stuff like that, but that's not going to be what this is, you know?
No.
So like when you add like a heist game focused on car combat and like it's online and you're doing heists and you're planning stuff out, and then you have other people possibly thrown into the mix that you have to deal with. I just wrapping my head around it sounds awesome and different. Like it sounds fresh. And then you add in the fact that it's in the 70s and all this stuff. I mean, they really seem like they're onto something that's going to be a unique gameplay experience with this.
Right.
So I'm excited about that. Also, I want to get to Grumble's super chat here as well. $5 super chat from Grumble. Thank you, sir. He says OFK is the next Bug Snacks. Gonna be fire. Hey, absolutely. Bug
OFK
Snacks,
is sweeping the nation. They're sweeping the nation.
OFK is not only that, I've heard one of the songs that OFK wrote. It's about Bug Snacks.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we're gonna look out for that.
The only thing that can happen, the only thing that can derail OFK is Volcano High. Those are going to be the two top contenders for Game of the Year 2022. So, again, but I think OFK wins. But
Volcano High, I'm high on Volcano High. So that's my game.
I think you're just high in general, but that's okay. All right, let's go.
I mean, you got those dinosaurs that are lit. Okay, I'm going to play Volcano High. You can play your OFK, and guess what? We're going to see which one has a higher meta after they both come out.
Hey.
Both
had Oscar quality writing, Mav. Both had Oscar quality writing.
Volcano High is greater than OFK.
All right, we'll place that bet. We'll see who wins.
Let's do it,
because that's all it's going to be.
I'm not kidding.
I mean, those are the two that are going to pull the most votes next year. So whatever. We'll
Game Awards 2025.
That's when the expansions come out for both of them.
Is it? Okay. The volcano college years.
I was just gonna say that Volcano College. Oh my God.
And what is it? OFL?
No, not OFL. No, it'd still be OFK, but maybe OFK the singles, like when they break up the group and they do their
OFK pop.
Yeah, OFK pop. There we go.
Let's do it. Thanks for the $5 super chat, Grumble. All right. Contraband.
Yeah.
Is it gonna light your pants on fire? Do you think?
Yeah. I think it's right up my alley. Everything I'm loving. Again, Avalanche. I love what they do in their games. I loved Mad Max. I love the vehicles of Mad Max. So therefore, I already know that's going to be down pat. Series only, obviously current gen only game. They're going to push the limits, especially if they're using their upgraded engine. It's going to be chaotic. I think it's perfect, as we know, Mav, for Game Pass. As Jasper pointed out in the chat, Hoods, Outlaws, and Legends is already a dead game. I said that before the game launched, that they were going to be an interesting experiment, that they should have put themselves into Game Pass if they could have, because I kind of figured that's what was going to happen to that game, and that's exactly what's happened to game. But when you put a multiplayer co-op, we've already seen the numbers that can be pushed in Game Pass. Back for Blood just broke 6 million, right, users, which is huge for that game. So I think Contraband is going to come at a perfect time. Imagine it's going to be a summer release, early fall release, and people are going to, especially at that point, because Game Pass should have grown even bigger than it is now, obviously, after Halo and Forza Horizon 5 and the rest come out, depending on when this game launches, it'll have a gigantic audience. And if Avalanche nails it, and again, it's another one of those studios who has always been on the cusp of really good stuff, except that they've always been kind of, they've had to finance all their own stuff, right? They're a publisher and they finance a lot of their own games. So they've never had the backing of an Xbox, and not that it's unlimited. Sometimes people act like Xbox is just writing blank checks to everybody. That's not how this works. They're within budget, but I can guarantee you this budget, because Xbox wants this game for a current gen only, for one of those big AAA Game Pass home runs, they are giving them a lot of resources. And I think that this gives the chance for a team like this to show what they can do finally without those pressures that are normally come with publishing your own game, and having to have the sales, and making sure that the budget is extremely tight. Now they can kind of branch out and they can expand what they do well and do it even bigger. And that's what I'd love to see. And that's why I think we're hearing that smoke about Avalanche's possibly being one of those acquisitions that's already basically done. And it's just a matter of time. And I think that makes a lot of sense because Avalanche has proved themselves through the years. They have the talent, just never really been able to broaden their horizons beyond a certain type of game or a certain, grandeur of their games. But Contraband could be their coming out party, right? Contraband could be a game that'd be like, okay, this is what we've always wanted to do. Again, this was a project that was pitched. This is not Xbox going to Avalanche saying, hey, we've got an idea for you. No, this is Avalanche going to Xbox saying, hey, we've got a game we really want to make. Are you guys interested? Again, fits it. Diversity, multiplayer co-op game. Like you said, Mav, hasn't really been done in this style before. They nailed it with the 70s look. Again, we'll have to see if the rest of it comes together, but I think they've got a real shot here. So
you want another reason to be excited?
Shoot.
Avalanche Studios also developed Rage 2.
Yes.
And using the Apex engine, the same engine that is going to
Very correct.
And is not just Mad Max and these other games. Rage 2, which was they worked with id, obviously, right?
Yep.
But that game was primarily developed by Avalanche Studios. So if you want an idea of like something that maybe has a little bit more muscle behind it as far as what they could do, Rage 2. I'm gonna ask again for a Rage 2 update.
Yeah,
like because that game, if they were to actually come out with a huge update, I think would be amazing. Still
looks good and plays good right now on series consoles.
Yeah.
So
really if they could go out and update it even more at Rage 2, like it's got vehicles as well, right? So kind of look at that and kind of piece together, hey, what could they do, with this engine? Also, Second Extinction uses the engine, as well, and that is made by Systemic Reaction, I think is the name of the studio. It's one of their smaller teams, but that game is visually impressive at times, and a lot of fun to play.
Times, yes, yeah.
So they got a lot they can do with this thing, and I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Heck yeah, man, for sure. Again, all this stuff is just added stuff that all of it's coming to Game Pass. It's just crazy how much we're getting in Game Pass. And again, Contraband isn't that far away, so I can't wait to hear more about it.
Is that 2022?
Yeah, I believe it's supposed to be 2022.
And 2022, you're gonna get Redfall, and
it's gonna be interesting with Redfall sitting there where they place this one, because I think Redfall is that late summer game, so it'd be interesting to see if Contraband's ready to go earlier. Because you don't want to do too many co-op multiplayer games, because then sometimes they can get lost. Although in Game Pass, does it really matter? Probably not at the end of the day, but I'd like to see them both get a little room to breathe, even though they're not similar. Co-op multiplayer, you get too many of them together, and all of a sudden people have to pick and choose who they're playing and what they're playing with their friends, right? So I'd like to. It's gonna be interesting, but yeah, 2022 is gonna be so big, dude. Oh my god, it's gonna be so incredible.
Yeah.
All right, final game. This is the new one that just kind of came out of nowhere over the past week and a half, maybe.
I got 3 more games.
You got 3 more games? Did I miss some? Oh, yeah. I've got him. Yep, I've got him. I've got him. Okay, I've got him. Yep, sorry. I didn't see him there. My fault. So again, all right. So Project Shaolin. This game came out over the past week and a half out of the blue.
Yeah.
And it was funny how this happened, because Jez had alluded to Project Shaolin on Xbox 2. Then Grubb on GamesBeat Decides went into it a little bit more. But he would not give the studio name. He did not want to divulge what he had heard. Somebody in the chat again, by the name, again, no offense to anybody out there, if this person seemed like a complete random person. Okay, not anybody well known within the community. A follower of Jeff's, obviously, somebody who I have seen in GamesBeat decides before, but not anybody with any presence in the community, right? So I don't know who this person is. Again, it could be anybody. But this person dropped a super chat on Jeff and said, Project Shaolin, question mark, or no, Project Shaolin, and then he kind of put a hyphen, and he said, is it Brass Lion Studio? Question mark. And Jeff was reading the super chat. Mike let him read this one. And so he was reading the super chat. As he read it, his mouth dropped open and he kind of deadpanned the camera. It was like, yeah, it is. Like, he could not believe somebody guessed it, because nobody that I was aware of had really heard of this Brass Lion entertainment before. And so it was funny how it all happened. And then I think it was further into the weekend, we got more confirmation that this was actually Jeff again, finally just said, look, Wu-Tang's going to be a part of it. And all of a sudden everybody's like, Wu-Tang Clan? What? Because it had already, Jez kind of alluded to that it was going to be an RPG, right? An action RPG game. And if you went to Brass Lion's website, which I did to check them out, they have, coming soon, unannounced action RPG game. So it all made sense. It fit together. But everybody was like, Wu-Tang Clan? Wait a minute, what? So this is Project Shaolin. This is what we know so far. Third-person, melee-oriented RPG, complete with 4-player co-op. The campaign is planned to run for a couple of dozen hours, complete with a rich endgame comprised of seasonal content drops and other updates. Able to obtain loot, weapons, gear, and so on in both procedural endgame dungeons and more tailor-made events. It appears that legendary hip-hop group Wu-Tang Clan themselves will be heading up the game's soundtrack. Brass Lion co-founder Manveer Air recently put a tweet looking for potential hires to work on an upcoming unannounced action RPG with an anime aesthetic. Oh my God. So, man, first of all, anybody who doesn't know, Brass Lion Entertainment is a group of former devs made up that they came from some really big teams, from really big games, and they all came together. And their big thing is that they wanted to create a studio based upon diversity, and they want to bring more representation to people of color in video games. So that's their whole driving. That's their goal. That's their motivation, is that they do want to create games with people of color in the forefront. All right. Cool by me. Again, more the merrier, more diversity, the better, more different ideas, the better. I don't care. This right here, Mav, it's speaking to me for a lot of different reasons, but I'll let you go first. What are you thinking about Project Shaolin?
I think it sounds freaking awesome, man. Dude, again, this goes into them publishing games that are potentially stuff we would have never gotten otherwise, and investing in variety. And I love the story behind the studio and what they're doing, right? I think that is massively important in all of this, right? And for Xbox to be potentially the people that are working with them and getting this game brought to the masses is it's really exciting, because this game, if it would potentially be in Game Pass, obviously, right? And automatically going to have a huge audience, right? As where sometimes a new IP, a new studio, things can get overlooked at times, right? And I think with the marketing from Xbox and with this team behind it, and the whole story of like what they're doing with this, and like the whole content with the Wu-Tang Clan being involved, and the whole action RPG with anime aesthetic, all of these things just scream like this is going to be a phenomenal one of a kind type experience, right? Another type of game that we don't have out there, right? This is I can't tell you how excited I am about the potential that this is happening. I want to know when it's happening. I want to know when it's coming out. The whole thing, okay, you got loop, weapons, gear, so on, but like with the idea of like the anime character and all this stuff is with a Wu-Tang Clan soundtrack. Yep. I mean, come on, dude. You know, like you're just like,
Mav, did you ever play Wu-Tang? Did you ever play Wu-Tang Shaolin style back in the day?
I tried it. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Right. It was a rental, I think. It was one of those times when what platforms did that come out? Was it PlayStation?
PlayStation. Yep.
Yeah. It's one of those games like back then I like would constantly go back and forth to Blockbuster, right, and rent games and have a game for 5 days, right? And it was like one of my rentals. But
for people who don't know, Wu-Tang did actually have a video game back in the day called Shaolin Style, which makes total sense why this is called Project Shaolin. It was basically a up to 4-player fighter, 3D fighter. But back in the day on PlayStation, so you know what the graphics looked like, right? So, but that's what it was, because obviously Wu-Tang is huge into old martial arts movies and all that kind of stuff. They've always been known for that, so yeah, I just want to give some people some background on why I was talking about that, because that was a thing. Wu-Tang's big into that.
Yeah, that was a fighting game.
Yeah, it was like up to 4-person fighting game.
Right on.
It was like in arenas, it was pretty standard.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember it. Like I remember that. I remember the game, but dude, like I don't remember the game. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it was 1999, so.
Yeah, so I was freaking only 16 years old.
I was 24.
Crazy. Yeah, old man. Old man. Yeah, that's I can't remember like how it played. I can't remember anything about it. Like I didn't really think anything of it other than like, oh, this is cool, a fighting game to play with my friend. My friend.
Yeah, I thought it was cool because it obviously had Wu-Tang music on it and everything else, which was fantastic. Wu-Tang's one of the goats for a lot of people when it comes to rap. So, that's what I remember that too. I remember thinking it was really cool. I remember sitting around with buddies and playing it at the bachelor pad. So, I don't remember it being like, oh my God, like this is just amazing, right? But I do remember it being decent. And again, the music did a lot for it.
So that was a different time too. You had a lot of licensed games out there too that were kind of just like thrown out there and like small teams.
Yeah, that was published by Activision.
Was it? I thought it was a Midway game.
No, it was Activision.
Was it? Wow. Man, I think now, like with this team, like everything they're trying to do with this, I think it's gonna be, what I envision is an anime Jade Empire style game with Wu-Tang soundtrack.
Yep, up to 4-player co-op. I'm all about it, man. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I think Diablo. It's got loot. It's got procedural end game dungeons and tailor-made events with Wu-Tang rapping over the top of it. I'm all about it, man. This is right up my alley. I can't wait to hear more about this thing. Obviously, this is a big project. This show, man, all this is going to show is when you see like Stoic, and then you see an little unknown. They do have one game out, I believe. Brass Lion does already, but a little unknown group developer like Brass Lion, who's got a really cool idea behind why they're there, and Microsoft is finding them. Or they're coming to Microsoft and Microsoft is listening to them.
Yeah.
And going, yes, we believe in what you're doing. Let's go. Let's do this. Greenlight it. Just go. Go make this stuff. This is how serious they are in this space now. This is a complete 180 from back in 2013 through 2017 or 18. So 180 from where they came from. It's crazy to me. This is old 360 days, Mav. That's why I say this is golden age of gaming. This is what Xbox, people forget how many. Go back through the Xbox catalog and look at all the unknown games that were actually really good. That's one of my biggest things. There were so many all different types of double A games back then that Xbox went out and greenlit and helped the teams make. That's what made the Xbox library so impressive, right? That's what made the PS2 library back in the day so impressive. They had that huge diversity of games that came from everywhere, that came out of the blue, like stuff we didn't even think about, right? And then all of a sudden it was there. That's where Xbox is going back to. They're making all these deals with these little devs, or these smaller devs, or just upcoming devs, and getting different games that we may never have seen before. Again, yes, we have a lot of action RPGs with looting capabilities and dungeons and all that kind of stuff, but you don't have a lot of action RPGs that have Wu-Tang in it, rapping over the top of it, up to 4-player co-op, right? You don't have a lot of those coming around. It's going to be a unique game just with Wu-Tang's name attached to it alone. Yeah. And that's going to draw people, right? I'm excited. You're excited. I know a lot of the community, when they heard Wu-Tang, some people were like, well, Wu-Tang hasn't been a big deal forever. But a lot of people in the community were like, are you kidding me? Wu-Tang is still one of the GOATs out there. I can't wait. Anything Wu-Tang's attached to, I'm going to try out. And then people started learning about Brass Lion and what was behind their formation. And it just got even more popular. So now there's a whole group of people that are really excited about this game, even if the masses haven't heard about it. This is prime time Xbox right now, going out and doing this kind of stuff. I absolutely love it, man.
This game is going to scream style and art.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, like you said, the anime style. Look, it's all the rage right now, whether you like it or whether you hate it. I personally like it. But that on top of everything I just talked about, yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's going to set itself apart. And I absolutely love that. So I cannot wait. Oh, man.
What else we got? We got 2 more. Now, these are the two that are the least known.
Yes,
least known ones, right?
Pretty much, yes. These are the 2 least known. So Project Indus, again, another Jez special, came out on Xbox 2, made by Oxide Games. And this is a 4X strategy game. So me and Mav are all about strategy games. We have not gotten a lot of them on console. It has been one of the things I've been preaching for. RTS's strategy games. We're seeing more come, which is absolutely awesome. So this one is definitely exciting. Turn-based strategic elements alongside city building, empire advancement. So again, Age of Empires, those types of games, espionage, diplomacy, warfare, and so on. So this is going to be a deep strategy game. Love it. I know it's niche. I know some people are tuning out right now. That's cool. I get it. There's a lot of us out here who've been waiting for this kind of stuff to come to console. So this is good stuff right here. I wouldn't be surprised if Project Indus is heavily designed with cloud platforms and smaller screens in mind too, using Microsoft's cloud-aware user interface APIs. In a blog post, the studio seems to be very excited about this new project. The studio's latest game released in 2016, so Project Indus should be far into development. Now, the only thing I'll say about that last part is depending on if they are using the cloud to that degree, it may not be as far along because there's a lot of things to work out. Cloud development and having the cloud for a big portion of your game is not the norm yet. It's getting there. But there's a lot to work through, especially if the team has not done it before. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out of this with and how far along they are. We've seen some screenshots of this, Mav. I'm sure you've seen, or some artwork that is supposedly related to this game. It's on their front page. In fact, there are some artwork right there. What are you thinking, Mav? You've heard about this as much as I have. You've seen some of the stuff. They've done some games in the past. They are definitely a strategy creation team, so they know what they're doing as far as that goes. They just haven't had anything like big. It's been all PC. They've never tried one for console before. So you got any concerns? You got any excitement? I know you're a strategy guy sometimes as well. What do you think, man?
It wouldn't surprise me if this was a PC first thing as well.
Okay.
Right?
Certainly could be.
Kind of like Age, the Xbox and Microsoft, they're not afraid to just release games on PC, right?
Correct.
So it's very possible with that, and with the cloud stuff, maybe like you're onto something there with could be multiple devices as well, right? Who knows? It sounds like it's a massive project.
Yep.
It sounds like it's ultra deep. And again, another thing with bringing variety. You know what I mean? I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but these are all extremely different from one another. Every single one of these, right? And there's one that honestly I'm surprised that isn't on this group of games. Project Cobalt.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Because it wasn't listed here with all of these other ones, but as far as this one goes, I think it could, like, maybe it's far in development, but who knows if it's how big the development on this is as well, right? So I think it's going to be something according to if the arts work on their website, and that was out there is actually this game, then I'm extremely excited,
right?
Because I mean it looks insanely cool. Like I just you got like the air balloons and like the zeppelins and all that kind of stuff, and it's just I'm all for that art style, and I kind of want to I got to see it. I got to play around with it to kind of know what it is, because some strategy games grab me and some are just too much, you know what I mean?
Sure, I get it.
And so I'm really curious how it's going to play and what it's going to look like. But based on the art style so far, I'm really, really, really intrigued if those shots that they have are from the game.
Yeah, so am I. And I think that my hope is, and it was a great point you brought up, it could just go to PC first. Again, I always forget about that strategy because I'm just so used to, obviously Age of Empires and that kind of stuff is there, but with new games, I'm just always used to it being so focused on the console side of things that yes, you're absolutely correct. They do want to expand their PC market for sure. So this could be a play on that. If stating that they are looking to work with cloud platforms, including smaller screens, that says that they want to bring this down to even the potential of working on mobile side of things, maybe, like, to some degree. I don't know how that
would work for strategy games, because a lot of them are just mouse clicks, right?
Correct.
So you could actually put a little on-screen display to
with the touch controls. That'd be pretty interesting, man, if they're gonna do that. So again, just from looking at their previous work, from looking at the supposed artwork that could be related to this game, definitely has piqued my interest. Like you, Mav, yes, there are some strategy games. It's so hard for me because I'm such a grazer and I play so much, right? And if you don't play a strategy game and you don't stick with that game, going back to it is like restarting all over again, at least for me.
You gotta learn so much.
I make fun of you for forgetting controls on some of your games, but like strategy games, like you forget like what you're supposed to build. Like Halo Wars 2, like when we went back to that, it took me like an hour to get comfortable again, where I was like, okay, all right, now I remember what I got to do, what order I have to do it in, what I should be putting out, blah, 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 blah. And that's the way strategy games are. So that's my problem with strategy games, is like, I love them to death. But nowadays, with how much gaming I do and how many different styles of game I play, I never can stick with one. And then I go back to it. And I'm like, oh, I'm starting all over. Oh, what am I supposed to do again? So that's the only problem. But I'm just glad they're showing up, because there might come a point in my life where I get over this grazing thing and I just go, damn it, I'm going to play strategy games. And I'm going to sit down and do this. And I just want them available, because they are niche, but they are important. Like you said, Microsoft is checking off all the boxes. So we will see where this one goes. Final one. This was the one that's This is probably the newest one, right?
I've never even heard of this one. Besides
Yeah, this
what
is the
we've seen.
one that Jez alluded to. People picked up on it. People started doing some digging. I actually did digging the same night that he talked about this and found the studio out of the blue. Super small, unknown, right? So this is Project. How did he Pack? I think it's PAX Day.
PAX Day.
It's PAX Day. It's DEI for anybody who wants to know. It's all one word. PAX. Well, capital PAX, capital DEI. From Mainframe Industries. This truly is a cloud only game. Like they are building this in the cloud. Like this is what Microsoft Phil has come out and said multiple times about having a development environment in the cloud where all these people can work on it. They can dream as big as they want to dream because there's no hardware restrictions. There's no bandwidth restrictions up in the cloud. You can do whatever you want to, dream as big as you want to, and create whatever you want to, and then stream it down, right? So this is their ultimate form that they finally want to get to. Well, they're partnering with this Mainframe Industries who's been kind of pushing into this space. And they've been looking at trying to do a game like this for a long time. So it's a cloud-first MMO RPG. This MMO will scale in complexity based upon how you're accessing the game. This is the most exciting thing ever, Mav, and people aren't understanding what this means. Simple, again, I'm not even a tech guy, but I've looked into this because when Phil started talking about this, whenever Phil talks about things, you got to go look because they're thinking 10, 15, 20 years down the line where the industry is going to be at. And cloud gaming is one of those things that's going to come to fruition. People laughed at the cloud. Crackdown 3 didn't hit the way it was supposed to, didn't perform like it was supposed to, didn't do what they all promised. But you make Crackdown 3 today, it's going to exceed what they promised back then because of how far cloud technology has come, right? So they were forward thinking back then. They were trying to create a game that would kind of show off what they were trying to do. Unfortunately, it didn't hit right. There was, obviously the devs in the middle of the game, and it was a problem. It was a mess. It became a mess. So at the end of the day, they're going to continue to look to push this because this is where they want people to be. This is going to not only be great for gamers, but this is going to allow access for devs. We talk about accessibility right now for these indie devs who are able to use like Unreal and Unity, and that has opened up indie games to become a lot bigger than they used to be. Cloud development is the next big step, right? Along with quantum computing, but that's a little bit further down as soon as that becomes viable. But right now, cloud computing or cloud dev environments are where it's next because, again, you don't have to worry about resources. You're basically in an unlimited area. And then what happens is from the cloud, it's able to actually scale based upon whoever's accessing it, wherever they're accessing it, whether it's on their phone, whether it's on their TV app, whether it's on a console, whether it's on a PC, the game will automatically be able to scale to whatever system, whatever device you are using to access the game. This opens up even more the potential down the road for what we could see. Basically a limitless space that they can continue to build upon in a living world kind of setting that can be streamed to every device, whether it's powerful or whether it's a potato. It's not going to matter to the game. That is something that's really exciting. So that's what this Mainframe Industries is shooting for. Building the game we've been practicing for our whole lives. Again, like I told you guys, I kind of read up on them. They've been pushing into the space. They've really wanted to make this work. They've been doing this. This is another one of those dream projects for them. Mixing the best of AAA, MMO, and mobile gaming into a social sandbox playable on any screen. It's the game of a lifetime. 2 to 3 billion people. Phil's kept saying it. Mav, that's all I hear when I hear a project like this. Whether it lives up to it or not, they are attempting to create something that has the ability to reach people wherever they are at, no matter what. What do you think about this, brother, when you hear that?
Honestly, I just I have no clue what to think because it's so different. You know what I mean? It's just like, What is it? I get all the stuff that you're saying, and I get I've been kind of reading all the stuff that they're talking about, and it all seems so like new and
Very.
stuff that we haven't seen before.
Correct.
That wrapping my head around it is very difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
And even on their website, everything is so vague,
Right.
and worded very like game of a lifetime. You know, vibrant world of we're bringing things to the new, and like just like what does this mean? I don't know.
It's like a metaphysical game developer. It's like some mystical game developer.
Yeah,
who's talking
like
about magic, right? That's
the way it reads. Even you know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah.
I like just be straight with me and tell me exactly what it is you're making. You know what I mean? Like I don't need the conception of your mental state. I want to know like what it is you're making.
They're creating life in the cloud, Mav. That's what they're doing.
I get it. I did see that Riot Games is actually like
correct.
Yes,
involved part of it
with this now.
They have former devs from like Riot Games and from a bunch of different places, but Riot Games is one of their main. Yeah, correct.
So you know, it's kind of like I just need to see it to understand it.
Yeah,
and until then, I'm going to chalk this one up to one of those projects that seems interesting, but I don't know if we'll ever actually see it come to fruition.
Okay.
Right? Who knows? I don't know. I'm just this one out of all of them, I'm the most skeptical just because I have no clue what the fuck it is.
This is as much to me, and I kind of explained it a little bit, but this is as much to me like a tech demo / game as it is an actual game, right? They're testing things that they believe theoretically can work.
The future game development.
Correct, because that's where the future of gaming is going to go. And from everything that they say, like you said, they're very vague. I get the idea that they're talking about a living space created in the cloud in the form of a game that's basically perpetual, right? That it just continues on and on, right? And it's helped.
Right, they want to create along by the people. Reality.
Right, correct. And I think that's what they're shooting for. Like you said, whether we actually ever see the actual game, that's yet to be determined, but
there will be tech that comes out of this.
Yes,
that will be
correct.
Used, right. So
correct. And we might see a smaller version of what their dream is come to life, right? We might see a smaller portion, or we'll see pieces of this game put together as they go along. So we'll get like a piece and they'll be like, hey, come check out our new world, blah, 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 access it from wherever you are. And we'll be able to access a small section of the game, right? And be able to interact and kind of get an idea of what it is. And then they're going to add pieces as they go along and build this thing out and see how big they can get it or how far they can push the tech before they run into issues or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think this is more of a tech demo / game than it is anything else at this point.
And just so you guys know, the CEO of this company's name is Thor.
Which is awesome.
It is. Thor Gunnarsson.
They're creating Valhalla in the cloud is what they're doing.
I think he's Peter Molyneux in disguise.
It could be.
I think he's Peter Molyneux. I want to see Milo. If Milo exists in this world that they're building,
I want Milo.
Then I will be excited.
I want Milo for sure.
Yeah, listen, I will only be excited and look forward to this game if Milo is a character that you can visit in this metaphysical world.
What if he's like standing at the gates to this world, right? And you gotta talk to Milo.
It has finally happened. I am finally here.
You know how many young gamers right now are going, who the hell's Milo?
Yeah, nobody knows. Shout out to Isma Easy with a $5 super chat. He says, just want to say thank you. Or she says, I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't tell by the picture.
Just go with they. Just go with they.
Just want to say thank you a lot for the show and keeping me awake. I'm working 16 hours today. Wow, because I'm sick. By the way, Age of Empires 4 is awesome. I'm excited to play. I have it installed. I haven't had a chance to play yet either. I super appreciate the $5 super chat, and
Yeah, thank you.
hopefully you feel better. I hate that
Yeah,
you're
no
sick.
doubt. No doubt. And I hope your work day goes by fast.
Yes.
The 16-hour day is awful. Been there, done that. So hopefully it flies by. Well,
Absolutely.
any more thoughts on that one, Mav? Or pretty much we're both in the same kind of boat here. We're talking magical mystery game development at that point, and we're just both excited because the future is unlimited, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I think the future is bright. What we can learn about from all of this together as a whole. We'll see what happens, what doesn't happen, right? Over time. I think we're going to learn a lot in the future about these games. I'm excited to see them announced. And the crazy thing is none of these are from first party studios.
Right, exactly. I'll throw this one in there because you brought it up, Mav. This is a first party studio. So I'll bring in Cobalt real quick. I'll just rehash again what Jez had wrote on Windows Central when he first talked about it. So Project Cobalt, for anybody who doesn't know, is inXile's new game. And inXile is obviously now first party. They are they did the Wasteland games, which are ridiculously good, but they are now doing a full AAA budget RPG style game. It's going to be steampunk style. Again, speaking my language. Everybody says we got all these RPGs. You're going to have too many RPGs. The cool part, outside of Obsidian and Bethesda, they kind of make similar games, but they both have individual worlds with different styles a little bit. And we've heard already that Avowed has changed from what Jez thought it was going to be, and it is definitely much more colorful than Elder Scrolls. So they're going to set themselves apart. But outside of those two, we're getting a lot of different style RPGs. It's set in different things. It's set in different environments and different worlds. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we're going to have a problem with, well, it's just another high fantasy RPG. Right. I don't think we're going to get to that point. I'll never get to that point personally. So don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about the masses. Right. So this one is a steampunk style inspired by industrial revolution, inspired tech. Expect steam engines, zeppelins, retro-futuristic robots, dark Victorian era streets, and more. Right. And they had a picture, they had an actual concept art that was shown a long time ago from one of the artists on ArtStation. And I think, and they add that Jeff Grubb previously stated that inXile's next game could be targeting a 2023 release. So, Mav, Project Cobalt, inXile, steampunk style RPG. We believe it's probably first. I don't know if they confirmed. Have they confirmed first person? I think they did. I think they did say first person on this one.
Don't know.
I get them all confused. I know. Yeah, I think Compulsion's the third person, but inXile is another first person.
Yeah, the Compulsion one is like supposed to be third person.
Third person narrative driven. Yeah. So with Cobalt, 2023 release, that's when we believe Avowed's going to be released. So if this does hit what Jeff Grubb believes to be the mark that they're shooting for, you're talking about two big RPGs, triple A's in the same year, like we were talking about. I believe that Phil wants one at least a year. This would be two. What are your thoughts on Cobalt?
I think this game is going to surprise a lot of people and going to put some respect on inXile's name. inXile has been expanding ever since they've been acquired by Microsoft. They moved into a new studio. They put pictures of it online and everything. It looks absolutely awesome. They've been hiring. The head of inXile is extremely excited about this game, saying like he can contain his words sometimes. He makes Twitter posts and almost leaks things, right? And he's just blown away by the excitement that he thinks people are going to have for it, right? And that excites me when you have a veteran of the industry that dates back to the creation of Fallout,
right,
and franchises like that, and going on and being like more excited potentially than they've ever been about a game that they're creating.
Yep.
And this is with Xbox, it's gonna be in Game Pass and all this stuff. It super excites me, and the shots that were put out there, again, if those were from this game, the art, there was concept art that was put out there by an artist, I guess, that had worked on this game potentially, but the concept art was maybe not associated. Who knows exactly? But the artwork that they posted looks pretty impressive, and it's that steampunk style.
I'll be right back.
Yep, I love these types of games. I cannot freaking wait, and there cannot be enough. All the people that say, "Hey, too many action RPGs," yeah, there cannot be enough. First person, third person, open world, story based, narrative based. You cannot have enough of these types of games, and I don't think a lot of people understand who In Exile is, right? The roots that they have and the ties that they have to Obsidian and a lot of these things, and how they all kind of come from Interplay and a lot of the RPG creations. They're kind of like some of the fathers of Western RPGs, right? Much like BioWare is as well with their style of games. And I think that Interplay is just going to make everybody understand they are legit. They are big time when this game comes out. Wasteland 3 is no slouch of a game.
No.
Right? Wasteland 3 is huge.
Story-wise,
it's
ridiculous.
It fits more of a niche audience, right? This game, I believe, will fit into more of a massive appeal for an audience. So it's going to make more people pay attention. Shout out to Jigga J. He says with a $2 super chat.
What up, Jigga?
He says, "Will you guys play Halo with me when it comes out?" Absolutely,
absolutely, Jigga.
After Xbox Ultimate podcast on Friday nights, we used to play Halo a lot. When Halo Infinite comes out, we'll be doing the same thing again. So we'll have a lot of custom game lobbies and just have a blast.
It's gonna be crazy.
Super excited to do that. So anybody's welcome to join in those. Once it launches, it's gonna be a blast. But yeah, dude, action RPGs, like I said, third person, first person, can't have enough of them. 1 a year, 2 a year from Xbox is going to be great. Plus, you got ones coming from other studios as well, right? So, I think they're on the right track here by filling that the category yearly with something like that, right? Because these things, you say like all these are coming out, but really, you look at the past several years, we really haven't had many.
Right. Correct.
You know, we had Outer Worlds. I mean, I can't really think of too many other big open world
double
RPGs.
A stuff. Double A stuff. There's lots of double A stuff, right? So that's why I love double A.
I'm ready for the wave. Like, let's go. You know, let's get these things. They used to come out more frequently.
Here's what I'll say about Project Cobalt. The first thing I thought of when they said steampunk, and then I saw the picture. And I know this is going to throw some people off, but bear with me here for a second. And then we'll get everybody out of here. The Order 1886, which was an absolutely, it got panned. Gorgeous game. Story was really well done, right? But that truly was a cinematic experience with short gameplay.
It was like 5 hours, something like that.
Right, exactly. But I'm talking about the world itself, right? Think about that world, the Order 1886, for anybody's played it. Think about that world, but realize it in an open world RPG with the writing talents of In Exile behind it. And In Exile is the next Oblivion, or next Obsidian, next Bethesda type studio. Trust me on this. If you look at In Exile and how they do lore, how they do writing, how precise they are when it comes to their games, and that their stories are narratively rock solid and really well done, like movie quality script writing, they are the next Obsidian, next Bethesda type RPG makers if that's the path they're going down. And if they establish themselves with a steampunk RPG world that they can grow off of, much like Elder Scrolls, right? Look, sky's the limit because steampunk is underrepresented. Steampunk is one of those genres that does not get a lot of love. There's a lot of different games out there. You can find a lot of smaller games in the steampunk genre. You can find a game here and there like The Order that do that Victorian steampunk style, but you don't see a lot of, you don't see any big gigantic franchises off the top of my head that are fully steampunk. There might be some on PC that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, but there's not. So they fill another niche kind of genre, but RPGs being as big as they are, if they pull it off and they create a BioShock meets The Order 1886 type RPG with dark elements, and it becomes like an Elder Scrolls or whatever the case may be, or an Avowed, look, you got another studio that's going to be able to pull out a genre defining type experience for people. That's huge. That, again, they're cornering the market.
Yeah.
They're cornering the market. I mean, all they really need is CD Projekt Red. I mean, Rockstar does their own version of RPGs with, obviously their games, but it's not the same, right? But CD Projekt Red's the only other one with Witcher that pulls off these types of games well. So BioWare is not the BioWare of old. We'll see. They're coming out with Dragon Age, so we shall see if they can pull off a classic BioWare game.
You got to think about that too, though. Like with BioWare games, they eventually hit Game Pass,
right?
Because they're EA.
Because they're EA. So, exactly. So technically speaking,
even 6 months after the launch to a year, they're going to be in Game Pass. So.
Yeah, you're right, Jasper. Dishonored is steampunk, correct? Yep, Dishonored is steampunk. You are correct, sir. But again, how exciting is that to have an RPG, big giant open world game? Man, so good. Look, man, we kept everybody here. It's been 2 hours, 40 minutes. We went a little over tonight. Yeah, we went a little over tonight, but it went fast.
A lot of projects.
Yeah, there was a lot of projects. So, but we covered 3 topics tonight, which was good. Like I said, we're going to focus on 1 to 2, sometimes 3. This week we went with 3. We threw in the Sony thing right before, like I hit Mav up, I think an hour while I was still at work saying, hey, let's talk about Sony a little bit, just because it was kind of a big deal. So here we are. It is now 2 hours and 40 minutes in. This has been an awesome show. Again, Thursday nights. I'm so glad you decided to come up with this idea, Mav. Thank you for allowing me to take the captain's chair. This is fun. I love it.
Super fun.
It is super fun. Super fun. Super cool. Super cool. But no, I am ecstatic that we got through number 2 here. Chat, you guys were absolutely phenomenal. But we're going to get everybody out of here and let you continue on with Thursday nights. Your Thursday night and get some gaming in or whatever you're going to do. Go to bed. So Mav, brother, thank you again. This was phenomenal. And tell everyone about your empire and your world domination plans and how you're going to take over the internet, and you're actually just going to own the internet from here on out.
We are the empire of fun speculation. We will continue to grow and have shows and have fun. Positivity. Even though I gave State of Play a 0 out of 10, it's still positive because they deserve it. We're having fun on this channel, Fun Speculation. Check out all the stuff we do. Every night we pretty much got a show, streaming games, hanging out, having fun, kicking it with my homies. Yeah, that's what we do. Hey, all of you in the chat, you guys rock. So super appreciated. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for tomorrow night. Be there. Xbox Ultimate Podcast. We got lots to talk about. It's going to be a blast. Can't wait to see you guys there. Pong Soul, tell everybody about Living Split Screen and stuff.
Yes, Living Split Screen and stuff. That's all I got to say.
Podcast.
Pong Soul everywhere. I'm not building my own empire. I'm just joining everybody else's empire. So, Pong Soul everywhere on Xbox and Twitter. You guys know the drill. Tomorrow night, Xbox Ultimate, just like Mav said, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Come check us out. Saturday mornings, my brother from another, Steel Rain, who was in the chat. Guess what? Living Split Screen starts 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time. Set your alarms. As he said in the chat earlier, live, raw, and uncut. We are going for 3 hours plus. We are going to take care of your morning, your afternoon, and eventually probably your night. No, we're not going to try to do that. We both have things to do on Saturdays, but he and I do talk a ton, and we're going to talk about the entire industry. So come check us out. Living Split Screen. Split Screen is all one word. And then Saturday nights, the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam, Fuzzy Belvedere, who is also part of Mav's empire now, Centurion, and myself. Shop Podcast, man. Look, PTK deserves a lot more listeners, a lot more people. He does a great job. Please come check us out. It's a shorter show, hour and a half, 2 hours. He doesn't like to go over at all. So 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. And then Xbox Factor podcast next Tuesday. Obviously, Mr. Boomstick, Double Barrel Gaming, Zemi Games. Hopefully 3-Bit will be back this week. Mav is now a part of the show. And, of course, we've got the awesome Archimedes, Box and Burger, Box of Bear, whatever you want to call them, Hall of Fame panel, Tuesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. And then back here next Thursday for episode number 3, if Mav does not cancel us for PM in the PM. So everybody, please go make lots of nice comments, like us, share us out, tell everybody so that Mav continues to run this show, because I like it here on Thursday nights. Look, chat, you guys are amazing, phenomenal. I love seeing you all. Nothing but respect and love to the chat. You know that's where I started at. I never thought I was going to be here. Love you all. Appreciate what you guys do. Been there myself. I'm still in chats as much as I can be. You know, again, have a great night. Thank you for coming out and supporting us. This is PM in the PM for Mav, Mr. Fun Speculation, and for myself, Pong Soul. I want you to all have a great night. It's the golden age of gaming, so go play what you love what you play, and we're going to talk to you all real soon. Love. Check you out later. Good night, all.
Bye, everybody. Oh, and also OFK versus Volcano High podcast coming starting on Sundays.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Let's do it. All right.
Let's do it.
Bye.
Bye.